Hello from Welsh-Ryan Arena in Evanston, Illinois for a Thursday night Big Ten matchup between Michigan and Northwestern here on WCBN Sports Radio. My name is Zach Linfield hosting here before tonight's ball game. The Wolverines at 11 and 10 have dropped three straight in 5 of their last 7, including a blowout loss to Penn State this past Sunday, as a 3-game homestand looms for this team following tonight's game against a program that's looking for just their second ever NCAA tournament berth. The Wildcats of Northwestern enter at 15 and 6, their second best start of all time under head coach Chris Collins. Michigan has had good success against Northwestern as of late, as the Maize and Blue have rattled off 6 straight against the Cats, and Juwan Howard, a Chicago native himself, has remained unbeaten against his hometown school. It's been quite some time since the fans here at Welsh-Ryan Arena have seen their team knock off Michigan, as the last home win in this arena came all the way back in March of 2017 on a last-second desperation heave all the way down the floor to Derek Pardon, who scored a layup on Michigan's DJ Wilson for the last win here in Welsh-Ryan Arena. The last time that Northwestern beat Michigan in Chicago for a home game for the Wildcats was at Allstate Arena back in 2018. So it's been quite some time since the Cat faithful have seen them knock off the Wolverines. But these two teams complete their season series here tonight after Michigan won at the Chrysler Center back on January 15th with an 85-78 victory led by a Kobe Buffkin career-high 20 points and Jet Howard season-high as a freshman 7 assists to go with 16 points of his own. After 7 lead changes in the second half in that one, the Wolverines were able to hold off the Wildcats for the final 10 minutes on their way to a 4-2 record in conference play at the time. Michigan now in conference play is at 5-5. Northwestern was led in that game by leading scorer and senior guard Boo Buie, who dropped a game-high 22 in the loss. Both teams are coming off losses of their own as Michigan dropped their last, as previously mentioned, against Penn State. Northwestern played their makeup game from the COVID cancellation in mid-January with the Iowa Hawkeyes on Tuesday night at Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City. The Hawkeyes, they put up 47 points and outscored Northwestern by 16 in the final half of play to pull away and get an important conference win of their own. But Michigan tonight, they have a big prove-it opportunity, a chance to stop the bleeding from this 3-game skid prior to hosting Ohio State at Chrysler on Sunday afternoon as part of a 3-game homestand. It's Ohio State, Nebraska on Wednesday, and Indiana on Saturday afternoon. How can they respond after the tough loss this past Saturday? We will find out here momentarily with the call of the game from Neal Sinha and Zach Linder following the national anthem here from Welsh-Ryan Arena in Evanston, Illinois. From me, Zach Linfield, I'll talk to you at halftime, and go Blue.
We ask that you please remove your tracks and we invite all veterans to render the hand salute as we honor America. Please welcome to the court the Sheridan Singers performing the Star Spangled Banner.
Hello and welcome to Welsh-Ryan Arena here in Evanston, Illinois, as we have a battle between the Michigan men's basketball team up against the Wildcats of Northwestern. My name is Neal Sinha. Joined alongside me is Zachary Linder, and later in the second half we'll have Zach Linfield on the call for that half. Zach, it's a big game for the Wolverines today. 11 and 10. It hasn't been the season that this Michigan team certainly wanted, and they're coming off a big loss to the Penn State Nittany Lions on the road, a 22-point loss in which the Wolverines just absolutely laid an egg. And you know what? To try to start a salvage this season, it has to start today, right, Zach?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they go into a big 3-game homestand after this, but they've struggled on the road this year. They're only 1-4 on the road in Big Ten play. Didn't play any true road games outside the conference schedule, and their only win was at Minnesota, who's the worst team in the Big Ten. So I think they'd like to get some momentum, but this is a solid Northwestern team. Michigan was able to come out with the win in Ann Arbor, but again, we'll see. Is Michigan able to get what really would be a big road win here? Obviously, at this point, they're a long shot to make the tournament. If they feel like they are a better team than they've been, then tonight would be a very opportune time to turn it around before embarking on a critical 3-game homestand after that.
Oh, certainly. And the Wildcats, just as you said, come in 15 and 6 overall record. They're 6 and 4 in conference, tied for fourth in the Big Ten. With the win today, Northwestern would improve to 7 and 4, and they'd be tied for second in a Big Ten that has just been completely wide open. On the flip side, the Wolverines come in 11 and 10 overall, and they're 5 and 5 in conference. But just as you said, Zach, they haven't taken advantage of the opportunities that the Big Ten provides. There's been some very good chances for this team to win big games this season. Haven't done it well today. The Wildcats come into this game 49th in the net rankings. For those keeping track of NCAA tournament resumes, this would be a quad one victory for the Wolverines. Now, should we even be thinking about that right now? Maybe not. But biggest thing is they got to just start racking up wins. Zach, give me a few points that you're looking for that the Wolverines need to hit on to come out of here with the win.
Well, the biggest thing to me is they need to be able to shoot at the free throw line. When on days they're struggling shooting free throws, they're just giving up points that they're essentially being gifted. And then the other thing to me is the team's got to run outside of more than Jet Howard and Hunter Dickinson. If they're depending on those two guys alone to win them this game, it's probably not going to work. They need a well-rounded team effort, both from the field and I would say more importantly, from the free throw line. Those are the easiest points they'll have. They got to take advantage.
I certainly agree with that. I mean, this is a Michigan team that really has not shot the ball well from the free throw line all season. Northwestern, meanwhile, one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country. When you look across their whole starting lineup, 4 of their 5 starters are above 82% from the line. That is just fantastic. And looking at the matchup that these two teams had, though, just a few weeks ago, the Wolverines came out on top 85-78. It was a relatively comfortable ending to that game. But Boo Buie had a solid game for the Wildcats with 22 points. Robbie Baran was solid with 16. On Michigan's end, it was all Kobe Buffkin actually in that game with 20 points. Doug McDaniel had 17. Quick point for Northwestern. What are you looking for the Wildcats to get off to a quick start here against the Wolverines?
Well, I mean, as you mentioned, Boo Buie had a solid game in Ann Arbor, and I'd say probably look to him to kind of jumpstart this team. But then again, I think same thing I was talking about with Michigan. Teams don't generally win off of one game or off of one player. So I think they gotta again kind of diversify and then also play disciplined basketball and don't get into foul trouble early. That obviously applies to Michigan just as well.
Yeah, it's a relatively packed crowd here in Evanston, Illinois, in Welsh-Ryan Arena. The Wolverines are in their maize away jerseys with a starting lineup, the usual starting lineup of Doug McDaniel, Kobe Buffkin, Jet Howard, Terrence Williams, and Hunter Dickinson. Northwestern, meanwhile, in the white home jerseys. And we'll get to that starting lineup in a minute as the Wolverines win the tip to start it off. Doug McDaniel will get the Wolverines going here on offense. Dickinson gets it at the top of the key. Outside, it's Terrence Williams. Back out near wing, Doug McDaniel. Doug looks for Hunter. Down low at the low post. Dickinson dumps it off outside. Terrence Williams into the lane and deflected out of bounds. Some good defense by Ty Berry for Northwestern. The starting five for the Wildcats is Boo Buie, Chase Audige, Ty Berry, Robbie Baran, and Matthew Nicholson. McDaniel will trigger out of bounds. Finds Buffkin. Curler, straightaway jumper off the mark. Rebounded by Baran. Buie across the timeline. Buffkin's fronting him today. Buie switches it outside. Nicholson, he goes down low to Baran at the low block. Outside, it's Berry for three. Off the mark. Rebounded by Buffkin. Kobe into the forecourt now. Look for Jett. Gets picked off by Audige. Chase Audige is going to take that all the way to the bucket and then draws a foul but misses the layup. And he'll head to the line for two.
Yeah, their early turnover there by Buffkin, those are the types of mistakes the Wolverines can't afford to make. They really haven't been a great shooting team this year, and when you're not, you need to at least give yourself more shots to overcome that. Turning the ball over there gives Northwestern a great chance for an early lead.
Audige counts the first one in for the Wildcats. 1-0 is the score. 19:09 left in this first half. Very, very early, of course. But the Wolverines look a little shaky, maybe a little nervous.
Yeah, not a strong start for them. It's early, though, as you mentioned.
And Audige rattles the second one in and out. Still just a 1-0 lead here. McDaniel into the forecourt. Dumps it off to Jett. He gets a screen from Hunter. Howard now with it. The top of the key, Jett looking around. Gets a screen to his left from Hunter. And then back to his right. Howard dumps it off. Dickinson for three from the left wing. Just short. Rebounded by McDaniel. Michigan still with it. Doug outside. Howard straightaway three. Off the mark once again, and then rebounded by Ty Berry in Northwestern. Man, they had the looks there, Zach.
Yeah, but there's the shooting struggles we've seen from this team too often this year.
They'll certainly look to figure that out this game. Buie gets a screen from Nicholson. Buie all the way into the lane. Kicks it back out. It's Ty Berry near the Northwestern logo. He goes down low to Nicholson. Almost travels with the Juwan wanted one. Audige now trying to create something. He'll take a step back three off the backboard and out, and then rebounds it, and then just throws up another shot to beat the shot clock. My goodness, what in the world just happened here? Eventually, Nicholson ended up with it, and I believe it'll be Northwestern ball.
Yeah, I think May had called a foul there. Really, we've kind of seen...
Oh, excuse me, actually, it's a shot clock violation on the Wildcats. That's why Audige tried getting a putback three, and it did not hit the rim again, so Michigan will have it.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of sloppy play from Northwestern. Never really seemed to have anything going. Michigan will get the basketball. I think there's a review here. I think it was a issue maybe relating to the shot clock resetting. It's at 26 right now.
Yeah, I think perhaps, I don't think they called it immediately as a shot clock violation, but it looked like when Audige got the ball back at the top of the key, they didn't reset and immediately call the violation. So they're probably going back and looking at the game clock right now. Good defensive stand initially for the Wolverines. Again, 8:07 right now left on the clock. Of course, that will likely change after the officials make the adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen so far, Michigan, they worked at the basket that first possession, just not able to get any points. And then, as you mentioned, they had the good looks on the three-pointers that second possession. They just got to convert on shots. I mean, so far, 0 for 4 from the floor. That's just simply not going to get the job done for them.
Yeah, and it will be Wolverines basketball, 8:07, or 18:07, excuse me. Howard will take this ball up, fronted by Audige, one of the best defenders in the Big Ten, averaging over 2 steals a game. Dickinson now has it at the far block. Hunter spins to his left, puts up a deep hook, throws up an air ball, rebounded by Williams, outside McDaniel, dumps it off to Howard on the near wing, and then he draws a blocking foul on Robbie Baran.
And I will say the offensive rebounding that the Wolverines have had very early here has been encouraging. Now, at some point, they got to turn it into points. but it at least is, as mentioned, not shooting well. They got to give themselves more shots. At least that's one thing that will give them more shots.
Yeah, the Wildcats averaging just 36.1 rebounds a game. That's certainly been a focal point for Chris Collins. Dickinson now has it. He'll spin to his right shoulder, dumps it outside. Buffkin wanted a three. Swing pass outside. McDaniel, far three. Just too strong. Rebounded by Jet Howard. Another Wolverines rebound. Dickinson now facing up Nicholson. Dickinson then loses control and it goes out of bounds. It was off Nicholson's knee, it looks like.
Yeah, ball will remain with the Wolverines, and it's really incredible here. These first couple minutes, they keep getting opportunities to shoot the ball. 0 for 6 now, including 0 for 3 from 3 points. You figure at some point they got to convert on something.
McDaniel triggers it in. Howard from the far wing. Bingo. Wolverines are on the board here. 3-1 is the score with 17:10 to go. Bowie across the timeline. Outside, it's Audige. Back to Bowie. Goes down low to Nicholson. Wildcats set up a backdoor screen, but it goes back outside Bowie. Bowie will take a step back three from the near wing, and he will make that three. Northwestern looking solid early here, 4-3. And of course, you're hearing the boos from the crowd for their favorite player, Boo Bowie. McDaniel dumps it down low. Hunter Dickinson at the top of the key. Hunter's been struggling to find some teammates early here. Sets a screen for McDaniel. He kicks it outside. Buffkin wide open for three from the far corner. Drano. And the Wolverines hit 2 threes right away.
You figured with all the threes they were taking, eventually they would come. Gives them a 2-point lead here.
Yeah, very nice shooting early here for the Wolverines, considering the open looks, just as you said. Audige now in the forecourt for Northwestern. Working on Howard. Swings it outside Baran into the lane. Robbie Baran with it. Then gets blocked by Hunter Dickinson. And here comes the Wolverines quickly. Buffkin will slow it down. He dumps it off to McDaniel. Doug with it on the right wing. Juwan barking out the play call. Eventually Doug dumps it off to Hunter down low. Quick left hook. No good. Rebounded by Williams. And then we have a foul on the court on Terrence Williams. And so we have an under 16 timeout here. The Wolverines again still with the lead 6-4 with 15:47 to go.
Yeah, that's really the signature play we see from Hunter Dickinson, putting Hunter Dickinson in the paint, getting him that short shot with his left hand, just not going, and it's almost emblematic of what we've seen from this Wolverines team so much of this year, just struggling to find ways to score points, and we've really seen them become very heavily dependent on three-pointers, which sometimes will work, but at some point I think they have to, in addition to, I said, being able to shoot better from the free throw line, I think they also have to work more to get the ball into the paint successfully.
Yeah, and how about the offensive rebounding for the Wolverines? I mean, Terrence Williams, both of his rebounds have come on the offensive end. And in general, the Wolverines right now with 4 offensive rebounds, Zach, has there been anything specifically you think that maybe Michigan's focusing in on? I mean, Northwestern isn't the biggest of teams, and so if you're Juwan Howard, you continue to focus on the offensive rebounding end.
I think it really is a big thing because, as I've kind of been talking about, it just, when you're able to get offensive rebounds, it significantly increases the chance that each possession will end in a score, which is such a big matter, especially for a team that's hasn't been shooting the ball all that well. If you can eliminate turnovers and then you're getting offensive boards, that puts you in a position where you don't need a great shooting percentage to be able to capitalize on more of your possessions. Then on top of that, I think also if you try to force the ball into the paint, you then get easier shots where you make them and you don't even need to rebound them, as well as pushing Northwestern into foul trouble and getting yourself to the free throw line. So I think it definitely is a big thing for the Wolverines, but I think as we move forward in this game, I care more about them simply making shots than rebounding their misses.
No, I mean, that's a good point. Michigan's had a lot of open shots early on in this game and missed a few at the start. Wolverines are 2 of 5 from 3 and 2 of 9 from the field. So not a great field goal percentage, but just as you said, when you're giving yourselves extra chances, certainly creating extra opportunities to score and get on the board. And so Michigan has to be happy, and we'll see what happens here after this timeout. It looks like Julian Roper is on the court for Northwestern. It's his first game in about 2 weeks for the Wildcats. His last game came against the Wisconsin Badgers on the 23rd of January. Michigan still in their little huddle here, getting set for Northwestern on the Northwestern side of things. What have you really seen for Chris Collins and what he's wanting to do in this game?
Well, I mean, obviously they had the three-pointer by Bowie, but it doesn't feel like they've really gotten into a rhythm yet on offense. And I think on the defense, they've kept Michigan out of the paint. So obviously, give them credit there. They have been giving Michigan, I think, three-pointers that are too easy.
Yep, and here we go, back in action. It is Brooks Barnheiser and Julian Roper on the court for Northwestern. So the 5 is Bowie, Nicholson, Audige, Barnheiser, and Roper. Barnheiser gets his first touch, goes back to Bowie. He dumps it down low in the paint to Nicholson, flips it up and in for the Wildcats. Tie game here in Welsh-Ryan Arena at 6. Michigan still sticking with their starting 5. McDaniel has it. At the top of the key, Doug getting a play going for the Wolverines. McDaniel finds Dickinson near the top of the key, back to Doug. Doug outside, Buffkin to the near wing. Gets a screen from Hunter. Kobe into the lane. Then has to take a little fall away, fade away, and then misses it. Rebounded by Julian Roper. Roper into the forecourt. Goes back up to Bowie. Again, tie game here in Evanston. Bowie directing the offense for the Wildcats. Goes outside to Audige, and then Barnheiser. Chris Collins trying to get the Wildcats going here early. Brooks goes outside. Bowie will take a straightaway 3 just off the mark. Rebounded by Terrence Williams. A little bit of a slow game thus far here. Doug McDaniel dumps it off to Jet Howard at the right wing. Howard now into the lane, all the way up through, and then draws some contact, misses the shot, and gets called for a charge. Brooks Barnheiser was there waiting for Jet.
Yeah, that's what I think we want to see Michigan do more of what Jet Howard's doing there, getting to the paint. But you see there, it does look like the right call as Barnheiser was set, and Howard just plowed into him.
It's the 3rd foul on the Wolverines. University Northwestern has just 1 so far. Audige now steps into a jumper. No good. Rebound by Buffkin. Kobe flicks it to Doug. Doug throws it forward to Hunter, who wasn't ready for the pass, and it goes out of bounds. It'll be still Michigan ball. Was off Barnheiser. It just seems like a little bit of a slow start here, Zach. Both these teams just 6 points through 6 minutes of action. We'll see if they can get started here. Buffkin now. Down low to Dickinson on the low block. Hunter swings it outside. McDaniel. Jet has an open 3, and he'll take that. And just too strong. Rebounded by Buffkin. Another offensive rebound for the Wolverines. And then Dickinson floats it up and misses it just short. Rebounded by Roper.
And I think one of those shots, either Howard's 3 or Hunter's short-range shot, has to go in.
And Roper takes it all the way to the rack and scoops it up off the window and in. And Northwestern now has an 8-6 lead. McDaniel barks out the play. Gets to the left wing. Dribbling around is Doug. The fans getting a little bit loud here in Welsh-Ryan Arena. Dickinson now spinning, gets to that left shoulder, and then puts up a little hook shot from about 5 feet and makes it.
And that's not his dominant side, but I still think that's the key Hunter Dickinson play. It's first time we've seen it work tonight. I think they really are going to have to lean on that to get some good scoring out of him.
Bowie gets 2 screens, gets a switch. Barnheiser has Buffkin, and then throws a pick to Hunter Dickinson. A little bit of a interception there by Hunter playing the safety. McDaniel now has it for the Wolverines in the forecourt. 12:25 to go here in Welsh-Ryan Arena. It's still 8-8. Very low-scoring game. Doug gets the offense set here. Just under 10 seconds on the shot clock. Wolverines got to go here. Hunter into the lane and then throws it down with one hand over Brooks Barnheiser. How about that by the big fella?
That's back-to-back possessions ending in a score by Hunter Dickinson. Wolverines definitely want to see him get involved. Slow start, hoping that'll lead to some momentum both for him and for the entire team.
Bowie into the lane, dumps it outside to Julian Roper. Roper outside, it's Audige. Takes the three and then misses it. Rebounded by Bufkin and then out of bounds off of Bufkin. It'll be Northwestern ball. 10-8 is the score as we approach, or we have reached, the under 12-minute timeout here. Just a 2-point lead for the Wolverines. It's been a lot of defense so far, Zach.
Yeah, and I think I said in the pregame that we needed to see more than just Hunter Dickinson and Jet Howard. But I think I'm going to kind of walk that back and say right now we need to see Hunter Dickinson and Jet Howard. Hunter Dickinson, we saw those back-to-back scoring possessions for him. That was a very encouraging sign because it seemed he had gotten off to a slow start. He is 2 for 6 from the field, missing shots you just expect him to make. Jet Howard's 1 for 3, all were 3-point attempts. And I think those are the, I said that obviously Michigan wants to see production from more than those two guys, but I think in order to win, as a starting point, they must get good production from those two guys.
It was interesting too because the Wolverines, of course, were without Jet Howard for their big game against Purdue. Dealt with a little bit of an injury in the game prior against Minnesota. But Michigan actually held very strong against Purdue. And then Howard comes back off the injury at Penn State, and Michigan gets absolutely blown out. Do you think that's just a coincidence in that Michigan usually is relying on Jet's production? Or is there maybe a situation of, I don't really know how to phrase it, but is there maybe a situation of difficulties with the starting lineup fitting together and meshing together?
I think that it's more coincidental that Michigan looks so bad at Penn State. They've been a very inconsistent team this year. We saw had the blowout loss to Arizona State. In Brooklyn, they had lost to Central Michigan. But that's not the normal Michigan team. You do have to wonder if they had Jet Howard against Purdue, because it felt like for about 12 minutes or so, Michigan was firmly in that game. But then after that, it felt like even though that Purdue game was close, it really was controlled by Purdue. And whenever Michigan seemed to start to get momentum, Purdue kind of halted it. You do wonder if they had Jet Howard, if they could have just broken through and taken control back. I don't think you can logically say Jet Howard is the reason that they struggled so much at Penn State. They just had some of those uneven performances this year. And obviously, they're 5-5 in Big Ten play, but an underwhelming 6-5 non-conference slate. It's really getting to the point they have to turn it around as they're consistently playing good games, especially with this 3-game homestand coming up. Next week, 3 games, Ohio State Sunday, Nebraska Wednesday, which would be a very winnable game. Indiana next Saturday, 2 tougher opponents. They got to take advantage of that homestand. And the way they do that is they play consistent basketball up to their potential.
And it's a fair point. And I think, this is a Wolverines team that, just as you said, is a little young. They have a lot of inconsistency, so to say. Anyways, back to the action here. Barnheiser has it for the Wildcats. It's Bowie now at the top of the key. Dribbles right. Gets by Terrace Reed into the lane. Kicks it outside. Ty Berry will take it in. Back behind the back pass. And Bowie will take the 3 and make the 3. And Northwestern regains the lead. Wolverines with a couple of substitutions, by the way. Terrace Reed into the game, as is Joey Baker for Hunter Dickinson and Kobe Bufkin. Jet Howard now with it on the right wing. Getting pressured by Ty Berry, who is just all over him. Howard tries a little crossover, then loses the ball. Loses Berry, too. Kicks it outside. Baker, wide open 3. And around and in for Michigan. A little bit of a whirly ball action there for the Wolverines, but it counts. And the Wolverines have a 13-11 lead now with just under 11 to go. Berry surveying, goes outside Martinelli. Now Verhoeven finds Bowie. Bowie working on McDaniel, dumps it down low to Barnheiser. What a pass by Bowie, and what a nice little layup for two for the Wildcats of Northwestern. Michigan with three guys sitting at the scorer's table ready to come in. It's Yusuf Kayat, Jace Howard, and a couple other. Terrace Reed now on the offensive end draws a foul, and he'll head to the line for two.
Yeah, that's what I think. I still believe, I know obviously the three-pointers just becoming such a big thing in the modern game. I think the biggest key to winning is get the ball into the paint earlier in the shot clock. And we see there, even when it doesn't result in the basket, creates more of a foul chance versus the three-pointers. You make them sometimes more often, you miss them and come up empty.
Terrace Reed now, first free throw. Wow, he banks it in. How about that? And a three-man substitution for the Wolverines. It's Yusuf Kayat, Kobe Buffkin, and Jace Howard onto the court for Doug McDaniel, Terrence Williams, and Jet Howard. Yusuf Kayat, of course, the true freshman, averaging just 1.5 points per game, 0.5 rebounds, and 0.2 assists. Has not had a lot of playing time as of recently, as Terrace Reed gets the second to go. You don't see that happen too often. Terrace Reed making both free throws. The freshman is just a 23% shooter from the free throw line. Michigan now with a little bit of a full court press. Bowie breaks it just past the timeline. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Bowie dribbling to his left, goes right at Jace Howard, then puts up a fall-away floater, missed it, and then out of bounds off Terrence Reed. The Wildcats will retain possession.
And right there, that is a missed opportunity for Michigan. Definitely a rebound that they should have gotten. Instead, give Northwestern a new 20-second shot clock.
Bowie inbounds Audige, wide open for three from the corner. Off the mark, rebounded by Buffkin. Kobe will try to race forward. Quick advantage here. Joey Baker, three from the corner, around and out. Rebounded by Howard, but then tipped out of bounds off of Howard. Will be Northwestern ball.
And that was a good look right there. He had already gotten a three from that exact same spot in the left corner and just rolled around, and they just could not get it. And again, another rebound goes Northwestern's way. Maybe a little bit of a trend shift after Michigan had done very well rebounding early in this game.
And a couple substitutions for the Wildcats. Robbie Baran is back onto the court, as is Julian Roper. Bowie comes off for Northwestern. Audige now dribbles it up to the left wing. Buffkin's on him. Audige still looking around. A little bit of movement for the Wildcats. Screen set by Verhoeven. They swing it around to Baran. Back out, it's Audige now. Right in front of Juwan Howard. Verhoeven will take it all the way in. Didn't really know what to do, and then puts up a little bit of a floater off the mark, rebounded by Buffkin again. Kobe with it. Zach, what do you think of Kayat coming into the game, though?
I mean, obviously nothing so far, but they do want to see him be an active part of this team.
Well, and speaking of being an active part, took an open three, missed it, rebounded by Baker, back out, Kayat again, misses it again. Rebounded by Buffkin. Two good looks for the Wolverines, and Yusuf unable to capitalize. Michigan still with it, though. Kobe Buffkin is putting on a rebounding clinic now. Buffkin into the lane, Euro step, loses the ball, kicks it outside. Jace Howard, corner three, off the mark, but he gets fouled by Titus Verhoeven.
And to what you were talking about with Kai, it's obviously a difficult balancing act because he hasn't had much production. The only way to get him more production is to give him opportunities, and yet at the same time, he just... how much can you give him when he's not producing?
And Howard, a 37.5% free throw shooter from the line, gets the first to go. Very different lineup for the Wolverines here, though. Jace has an interesting stance with his feet pointed left. Misses the second, as you can tell by the cheer from the fans. But what do you make of this lineup, though? I mean, not only Yusuf in the game, but with Jace Howard and Terrace Reed, a very, very young and experienced lineup.
Yeah, it is a very interesting choice as they're holding a narrow lead. I almost feel I'm questioning if it is in fact the right move to put all these young guys in at the same time.
And Howard misses the third there, goes 1 for 3 from the line on that possession. Michigan has a 16-13 lead with 8:35 to go. Bowie now back into the game for the Wildcats. Kyatt's fronting him. Bowie dribbles left, gets a screen from Nicholson. Bowie outside, switch down low to Nicholson. He gets fouled and then misses the dunk, but he'll head to the line for 2 for the Cats.
And that may have not been a bad foul right there on the dunk, because that's basically a guaranteed basket. Obviously, you don't want to let him get up there, but at least now you force him to make 2 free throws from the line.
That's a very good point. Matthew Nicholson shooting 50% from the line on the season. So, I definitely agree. I think Juwan Howard would certainly be happy with that call, or that decision, I should say, by Terrace Reed to make that foul as Nicholson misses the first. And how long do you think that this lineup stays on the court for Michigan?
I would assume, obviously, we're 30 seconds away from a potential media timeout. I would think coming out of that next media timeout, we'll see a more traditional veteran lineup come back out.
And Nicholson misses the back end of the 2, so no damage done to the Wolverines. Bufkin now working on Bowie. Gets a slip and screen by Terrace Reed. Baker into the lane, scoops it up off the glass and in for Michigan. It's now a 5-point lead for the Wolverines, and a quick full court press once again for Michigan here. Deej breaks it, finds Roper, who is left wide open in the corner. He steps back out and resets for Northwestern. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Bowie getting the play call going here. Baran receives it on the left wing. Now Deej back to Bowie. He gets a screen from Nicholson. Michigan's all over this play. Outside, Deej kicks it to Roper. Roper into the lane and just barely draws a foul on Joey Baker, a reach-in. And that's our under 8 timeout with 7:34 to go. Michigan with an 18-13 lead over the Northwestern Wildcats here in Welsh-Ryan Arena.
Yeah, and I think what we've seen is they played good defense, avoided giving easy looks to Northwestern for the most part. Bowie does have the 2 3-pointers out of his 3 attempts. Obviously, you'd like to see that cut down. Bowie has almost half of the Northwestern's points. But otherwise, it seems Michigan's put good pressure and forced Northwestern into uncomfortable situations. We've seen it looked like they've got better in shot making as time has gone on. Still only 6 for 19 overall, 3 for 5 from the free throw line. You mentioned Terrace Reed, very unlikely event, him making both of his, but Chase Howard missed 2 of the 3. Really has been the defense that's helped out this Wolverines team so far. Still like to see them get more going on offense, but they at least improved. I think they've been looking better as this game has gone on.
Yeah, and we'll see if Michigan can keep up with it. It's been a very inconsistent season thus far for the Wolverines. But yeah, a very interesting lineup choice by Juwan Howard. Going with Kyatt, a guy who hasn't played in quite a while for Michigan, goes with Kobe Bufkin as the lead ball handler for the Wolverines on that lineup as we hear Mr. Brightside being played and an array of boos coming from the Northwestern fans. Tell you what, they're a little welcoming here in Northwestern playing this song, huh?
Yeah, you do have to wonder. It's not like you have a big Michigan student section here who's about to get into it as they cut it off. Very questionable music choice from the Northwestern side, I have to say.
Hey, you know what? I will give it to them. They're going with their mascot right now. The nice little video on board. Pretty funny from Northwestern here. Nonetheless, back to the action, though. We're still under timeout with 7:34 to go. There's 20 seconds on the shot clock. And if you're both teams here, Northwestern in an interesting position where they have an NCAA tournament type of resume. They need to start racking up bigger wins. It has to start, with a middle tier type of team like Michigan. You got to win games like this, right?
Right. I would say both teams need this win. Northwestern more so. This is simply a can't lose game for them. The Michigan side, it's okay. They need to build up their resume with signature wins. As you mentioned, it would be a quad one win. Northwestern, they just need to keep their resume where it's at. And a home loss to a mediocre team like Michigan really would be damaging for them.
Yeah, and it's a good point of how the NCAA tournament resumes are set up. Quad 3 losses are so bad on a team's resume. This would be a quad 3 loss for Northwestern. On the other hand, for Michigan, it would be a quad 1 win. And of course, the tournament conversation is far from this Michigan team, but nonetheless, they need this win. Back to action, though, inbounded by Boo Buie, and he gets it right back. Michigan sticking with the same 5 that they had before that timeout. Buie now into the lane, kicks it outside. Baran, open 3 from the corner, and just short, rebounded by Nicholson, and then fouled by Joey Baker. It's the 5th team foul by the Wolverines, or excuse me, the 6th. And the 2nd personal foul on Joey Baker.
Yeah, and you do start to wonder if these fouls are going to come back to haunt them, as Northwestern will be in the bonus with the next foul. Potential easy points for them.
Buie with an open 3 from the corner, and he drains yet another one for Northwestern. Buie off to a solid start. That's his 3rd 3 of the game, as he has 9 points for the Wildcats. 18-16 is the score here in Welsh-Ryan. Bufkin kicks it outside. Kite has it left wing. He goes down low to Reed. Reed barks some orders, gets Kite out of there, and then throws a pass straight to Buie, who will take it all the way into the lane, and then kicks it outside and picked off by Joey Baker. Baker to Howard. Jace Howard down low to Terrace Reed. Throws it up off the window and out. Rebounded by Nicholson. And Audige has it for the Wildcats down up top, to Buie. He then loses it to Robbie Baran, and it'll be a foul on Yusuf Kite. Man, this has been some interesting basketball the last minute.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that Michigan turnover, which was obviously Buie makes the 3. You can't just give him the ball right back. But then they managed to play defense and get the ball taken away. But here is the foul trouble, and you have to wonder how many points they're going to end up giving up with fouls these last 6.5 minutes. Northwestern with a chance here on a 1-1 to tie the game.
Yep, just as you said, with it being an away from the basket foul, it'll be a 1-1 for Robbie Baran, and he drains the first. Couple substitutions for the Wolverines. Jet Howard back into the game, as is Hunter Dickinson. And we'll see if the Wolverines can try to just hold on to this lead and possibly stretch it. Of course, though, Baran drains the second and ties this game up at 18. Bufkin across the midline. Goes far wing to Jet Howard. He gets a screen from Dickinson, gets the switch. Howard now to Bufkin, back to Howard. Howard at the top of the key, crossover. Little Hezzy. Outside, it goes to his brother Jace into the lane, and just short and out of bounds off of Julian Roper. It'll be Michigan ball.
Yeah, and it's a lot of traffic under the basket. No good looks for the Wolverines. I like the intent of what they're doing, but you do have to wonder at some point, if they're just not getting the looks, is it worth looking more toward the perimeter?
And Jace Howard and the youngster Yusuf Kite come off the court. Michigan back with their starting lineup here, as Terrence Williams and Doug McDaniel are back in. Howard now, far wing, fronted by Audige. Jet with it, man. Chase Audige does not play around on defense. Howard up and under move, puts up a jumper off the mark too long, rebounded by Audige. Audige outside, it's Buie at the near wing. Buie working on Doug. Steps out at the charity line and then goes back to Audige. Collins setting up a play for Northwestern. Audige gets a screen from Nicholson. Man, they're not even putting the ball in the court right now. Audige dribbles right. Crossover, step back. That'll be a long 2 and misses it. Rebounded by Bufkin. Kobe Hezzy down the straightaway, goes outside McDaniel. Kobe now steps into a jumper just in front of the arc and drains it for the Wolverines. It's a 2-point lead for Michigan, 20-18, with just over 5 to go. Buie just across the Northwestern end. And Chris Collins is just dancing around on the sideline. He wants his guys going They're taking their time on these plays. And then they turn it over to Hunter Dickinson. My goodness, Northwestern's offense is all out of sorts right now. Jed Howard now on offense. Working around through the lane, kicks it outside Buffkin. Extra pass McDaniel. He floats up, a little bit of a runner, and drains it for the Wolverines. And Chris Collins has had enough with this team for Northwestern. 22-18 lead with 4:34 to go. Man, you can tell Chris Collins was getting very frustrated on the sideline there. And they didn't even wait until the under 4 timeout.
Yeah, this will not be it's 4 seconds too much to go to a full media timeout, so we'll still have the under 4 here. But 4 turnovers now for Northwestern. But in a defensive game, these turnovers are proving very costly. I do think there does have, I mean, we saw Michigan not going more mid-rangers to those last 2 shots. And I was saying early, get into paint, but it seems both teams have defended well in the paint. So this is where I think you start looking for more of those mid-rangers and even threes. Don't go extreme with them. But these teams, to their credit, are both playing good defense under the basket.
Yeah, and, I just think they just haven't really been in sync. I think the Wolverines have done a good job kind of pressing them early and getting rid of a lot of the shot clock. We'll see if they can keep up with it now. Juwan Howard looks like they're shifting into a 2-3 zone. Yes, they are. But leaves Ty Berry wide open from the corner, off the mark. Rebounded by Robbie Baran. He goes back outside to Adige. Michigan switches back into man. Adige around Dickinson and then under with a reverse, just short. Rebounded by Buffkin. Kobe forward to Terrence Williams on the left wing. He goes and dumps it off to Doug. McDaniel to T. Will. He goes down low to Hunter Dickinson. He'll try to get a shot off, then turns it over. Yep, it was off Doug McDaniel, the refs say. It'll be Northwestern ball. And that, there you go, is our under 4 timeout with 3:58 left. Wolverines retain a 4-point lead, 22-18 here. Zach, if you're this Michigan team, you have a 4-point lead, or excuse me, if you're Juwan Howard, I should say, what are you telling your team here to just finish this first half and kind of hold on to a lead?
I mean, I think keep playing good defense, force Northwestern into uncomfortable situations, keep them off balance. But of course, you want to stretch out your lead here. And so I think the shot making needs to improve. They're only shooting 33% from the field. And then, of course, with that comes improving the looks and basically taking what Northwestern's giving them.
Yeah, and I mean, these two teams are just not shooting the ball well, to say it frank right now. Northwestern 6 of 20 from the field, 30%. Michigan, on the other hand, 8 of 24, shooting 33.3%. It's been a rough game, offensively speaking. Got to give credit to a couple of defenders, too. Chase Adige has had himself a very solid game guarding Jed Howard. And now, on the other hand, if you're Chris Collins and Northwestern, they're trying to free up, their shooters and Ty Berry and Adige. Does some of this rely on Boo Booey's performance, and he needs to step it up even more? He already has 9 points.
Yeah, I mean, they'd like to see him have more, but I don't think it's fair to blame him. He has half their points, and one guy can't beat a team of 5 players. So I think it's, at this point, more in the hands of the guys around him to give him some support, which in turn will also make him even better, because when he's the only one making shots, then it's just too easy for the Wolverines to double team, triple team, and knowing that the rest of the team won't take advantage of being freed up.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see. I think for Michigan, obviously, you would think it would be great for this team to go into the second half with a lead on the road. It hasn't, frankly, been a very intimidating environment here in Welsh-Ryan Arena. Not a fully packed house. There's also a lot of Maize and Blue faithful here rooting for the Wolverines. Zach, have you ever been in this arena before?
I have not. I have not been on this campus at all.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is my second time on the campus. I've never been in Welsh-Ryan Arena. It has a nice little smaller feel to it. They generate a decent amount of size, though, with the student section fronting both baselines as we get ready to come back in action. Once again, the score is 22-18 in favor of the Wolverines. Very poor shooting game for both teams, just as we mentioned. Northwestern going with the 5 of Bowie, Chase Audige, Brooks Barnheiser, Ty Berry, and Titus Verhoeven. Audige now gets the inbounds, goes back to Bowie at the top of the key. Bowie gets a screen from Verhoeven. Barnheiser back to Bowie. Bowie with a little rip through into the lane, working on Doug, and thus a nice, strong layup for the Wildcats there. Cut it to 2. McDaniel will look to get back at him here. He goes to Buffkin. Kobe dribbling with his right, stops, then goes back to Howard for 3. Just too long, rebounded by Ty Berry.
The look there, just way too powerful on the shot. Goes off the backboard.
Bowie dumps it off to Berry. Now Adige at the top of the screen. By Verhoeven. He goes outside to Barnheiser. Barnheiser into the lane, trying to find a shot. Unable to. Kicks it out to Adige and sets a screen for him. Chase Audige trying to find a shot. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Step back fadeaway. Rebounded by Verhoeven. And then he goes outside to Ty Berry, and Audige will then take the 3 off the extra pass. No good. Rebounded by Buffkin. Man, Kobe Buffkin has been in the right spots today. That's his 7th defensive rebound of this game. Buffkin all the way into the lane, and just too long. Trickles out to McDaniel for 3 from the corner. He misses. Rebounded by Jet Howard. Man, it's just a pinball machine today. And Doug tells Buffkin to just calm down here as Michigan will take a little bit of their time. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Kobe with it. Dribbling with his right. In the lane, kicks it outside. Cross-court pass to Williams for 3. Just short. Rebounded by Berry. And there's just a cap on both of these baskets for these teams. Bowie across the midline. Finds Barnheiser. Back out Bowie. Straightaway 3. Just short. Rebounded by Jet Howard. Howard with it. They're looking for Hunter. Buffkin with it on the left wing. They feed Hunter Dickinson on the left block. He kicks it outside. McDaniel. Cross-court pass. Buffkin. And we have a off-ball foul on Titus Verhoeven as Doug McDaniel was driving baseline.
The 4th to Northwestern's foul trouble on their side. It is worth noting that almost half of missed baskets have been rebounded by the offense. Michigan has 22 rebounds, 10 on the offensive side. Northwestern has 18 rebounds, 7 on the offensive side. Both teams have given themselves a lot of extra chances and have done little with them.
McDaniel, the trigger man, finds Dickinson. He dumps it off to Buffkin. Kobe will dribble with his right all the way to the basket. Scoops it up off the glass and misses, and then Dickinson misses the putback. Still a 2-point lead for Michigan. Berry now onto the offensive end. Dumps it off. Nicholson throws down the 2-hand slam, and we are tied here in Evanston.
And I thought on the other side, Dickinson had a chance to dunk it. Instead, trying to just put it back in, miss, and the game's tied.
Terrence Williams sets the screen for McDaniel. It's getting a little loud now in Welsh-Ryan. McDaniel wanted a step back 3. He goes down low to Dickinson, and then he gets fouled going up for a bucket by Matthew Nicholson. So Hunter Dickinson will have 2 shots from the line here upcoming. 1:10 to go. 22 all is our score here in this first half.
Dickinson only has 4 points so far. Jet Howard only has 3. Leading the team with 5, Kobe Buffkin and Joey Baker. So the little production is spread around pretty evenly, not really from the sources you'd expect.
And Hunter Dickinson splashes the first free throw. 5 team fouls on the Wildcats, 7 conversely for Michigan. Dickinson gets both of the free throws to go, and it'll be a 2-point lead for the Wolverines. As we approach the 1-minute mark now. Bowie across the timeline. Buffkin's fronting him. Man, they do not get set early for Northwestern here on their offensive end. Barnheiser outside, Berry in the corner. He cross-court pass to Audige. Audige draws the foul on Jet Howard. He got him leaning in the air. It was a nice, crafty move by Chase Audige, and he'll go to the line for 2.
And you mentioned Northwestern taking more time to set, but finally able to get a look there. They have created Michigan fouls. Michigan is at 8, Northwestern's only at 5.
Yeah, I mean, this has to be one of the slowest paced games I've seen, frankly, in college basketball this season. Both of these teams really taking their time to get set on in the half court set. Audige makes the first and then misses the second free throw for Northwestern. Michigan retains a 1-point lead with 50 seconds left in the half. McDaniel to Buffkin. Buffkin down to Hunter Dickinson at the top of the key. Hunter surveying, finds Doug McDaniel open on the left wing. Doug dumps it off down low. Nice pick and roll action. And then Hunter banks it in off the window and in. Some nice movement for the Wolverines there. And they go maybe for the 2-for-1. There's a 2-second difference between the shot clock and game clock. And Northwestern does not look hurried at all here. Collins yelling out the play to his Wildcats as Boo Buie dribbles it very slowly at the logo end for Northwestern. Buie now getting into the set. Brooks Barnheiser has it. Triple threat move. Steps into the lane and then dumps it off the window and in. For the Wildcats, it's a 1-point game. Dickinson has it, throws it up from midcourt, and just too strong for Michigan. And so the Wolverines will have a 26-25 lead heading into the half. Zach, let me ask you, was that what you expected this half of basketball to be? Very, very slow-paced game, but the Wolverines have a 1-point lead on the road here in Northwestern.
I don't think we expected. We've seen Michigan play in these types of more defensive games, but I don't think I could have said I expected it to be this low scoring. Michigan only shooting, each team actually shooting, or Michigan's 29 from the floor, Northwestern 35%. Both teams getting a lot of offensive rebounds, and with that said, they just really drag on possessions even longer. So what you mentioned about the really slow pace, neither team really showing any sense of urgency to score. Of course, that takes pressure off their defense, puts more pressure on their offense. And right now, the teams are neck and neck. Wolverines holding the slim edge.
Yeah, and I mean, just as you said, Michigan, 11 offensive rebounds. Northwestern's got a few of their own, too. They have 7. But Wolverines clearly winning the rebounding edge right now, 24-19. And in general, Michigan, it's funny, they're not actually shooting better than the Wildcats. Both of these teams are 3 of 13 from 3. That is just awful at 23%. But then the Wolverines are shooting 29% overall from the field, Northwestern 34.6%. How do you think that's a case of these offenses are just not missing the shots that they should make? Or is it maybe a case of two great defenses?
I think we've seen a little of both. I think it's pretty clear, especially I think Michigan has gotten better quality shots than Northwestern. Both teams are 3 for 13 from 3 points, as you mentioned. I think Michigan's have been better looks than they've just missed on, but not all of them. Some of them are just bad looks, off-balance shots. Northwestern, I think, more so hasn't gotten a lot of great looks, as Michigan's really played tight defense on the basket. But then even extending beyond the paint, I think still putting pressure on Northwestern to the point they've kind of taken less shots under tight pressure because, as you talked about, they're taking a lot of time and then they just hacking at the ball up. You do wonder if the team works quicker to set in the front court, if that would give them more time to respond to what the defense is doing and find the openings, which neither team has been successful.
Yeah, and I mean, this is as we kind of built it up at the beginning. It's a very big game for two different reasons for both of these teams. Michigan has certainly not been the season that they wanted, but they're trying to salvage what is left of this season, and they certainly have some good opportunities coming in the future. Northwestern, on the other hand, this is a game they have to win. It's a quad 3 game for the Wildcats. They don't want a loss like this on their resume as they start to get nearer tournament time. But a very tight game, man, and this is a Michigan team that beat these Wildcats by 7 in Chrysler. And so give me one player, I guess, for Northwestern that the Wildcats, other than Boo Boo, I'll put it that way, other than Boo Boo, give me one player the Wildcats are going to need to step up for in the second half to come out on top.
I'll go with that. He's 0 for 9 from the
Wow.
floor. He's made 2 of 4 free throws, 0 for 5 on 3-pointers. He's played 19 minutes. They have been consistently getting him in the game, giving him chances. He just hasn't done anything with it. So I think that's really the type of guy you look at. If he keeps getting these opportunities, he must be able to convert them. He makes even a couple of those shots, and Northwestern has a lead right here.
Yeah, and I mean, Audish has been stellar on the defensive end so far today. He has 2 steals so far this game and has really caused problems for Jet Howard. Audish really is one of the best defenders in the Big Ten and frankly in the country, averaging 2.6 steals per game and 0.8 blocks. I mean, that is quite the stat line for a guy who also puts up 15.7 points per game. And so just as you said, to have just 2 points at half and be 0 of 9 from the field, Northwestern certainly lacking that production. On the other end, for Michigan, though, who do they need to step up to win this game? Jet Howard's kind of been a little quiet, so give me a player other than Hunter Dickinson. And maybe, if you want to pick Jet Howard, you can take Jet Howard. But if you have someone else, though.
I think Jet Howard's just the too obvious choice.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunter Dickinson hasn't done a lot at 8 points, but Jet Howard at 3 points really is amazing they're ahead, because I think last year it really was this team runs through Hunter Dickinson. I think now Michigan runs through Hunter Dickinson and Jet Howard. I think Jet Howard, with his 3-point shooting ability, really has become just as integral a piece to this lineup as Dickinson. Obviously, their skill sets are very different. 1 for 5 from the field, 1 for 4 from beyond the arc. That's just not going to get the job done. They really to have a chance. He is the guy would be most likely to improve individually to cause a team improvement in shooting here in the second round.
Yeah, they're certainly lacking that production. And just as you said, it is quite shocking that they have that 1-point lead. I will step aside here as we'll have our play-by-play commentator, Zach Linfield, coming in. And, Zach, it's been a weird first half. Michigan has a 1-point lead as Zach Linder actually steps aside. But Zach Linfield now with me, the play-by-play commentator for the second half. It's been a weird first half for this Michigan team, a very slow-paced half. What have you seen that, makes you confident in the Wolverines to eventually come out on top at the end of the day?
What I'm seeing differently in comparison to the past for Michigan is that they look confident in shooting the 3-point ball, because we haven't really seen that these last couple of games for Michigan. Yeah, they've been firing them up, but they haven't gotten great looks. In this game, they're getting good looks, but it seems like there's a little bit more confidence. You saw Yusuf Kayat get some minutes off the bench, and he floated 2 3-pointers up on his first offensive possession. Jet Howard took multiple 3-pointers. He shot 4 total and only found bottom on 1. But I like the confidence that we've seen so far from this Michigan team, at least shooting from the outside.
Yeah, and how about that, by the way? Yusuf Kayat playing in that extended role. I mean, you don't see that from this Michigan team for Yusuf Kayat. Even Joey Baker's gotten a lot of extra time as of recently for the Wolverines. But what an interesting lineup that was with Kayat, Baker, Jace Howard, Kobe Buffkin, and Terrace Reed on the court. What did you make of that decision?
I think it's a lot of Juwan Howard trying to find the right pieces to the puzzle that we haven't necessarily seen in some time. Michigan putting a lineup together that's very, very unique in that sense, putting Yusuf Kayat on the floor. And I'm sure a lot of Michigan fans are a little bit disappointed they haven't heard the name Will Cheddar here tonight. But for the most part, Michigan has been running with their starting 5. When they weren't with their starting 5, it was a group of, you don't want to call them misfits, but a lot of the guys that you don't get to see on the bench set.
Yeah, I mean, definitely got some interesting lineup decisions there in that first half, going with a lot more youth than what we've seen compared to like their starting lineup. Results haven't really been there, which makes me wonder. Obviously, you want to get those guys involved, but you look at guys like Yusuf Kayat, for example, didn't get any points. Jace Howard, 1 for 3 on free throws, only got 1 point there. Terrace Reed has 2. Obviously, leading scorers, Hunter Dickinson, 8 points. Kobe Buffkin, 5 points. Joey Baker at 5. And then not really much production outside of that, but the limited production they've gotten really has been their starting lineup. Obviously, you want to cycle guys in and out, but I do think they should be going more with those guys who are going to score points.
I agree. I think Michigan's got a great chance to come out here in the second half, Zach, and do a really good job of, I know they're going to switch between Neal and Zach here in a moment, but Michigan really does have a chance to go out there, run the sets they want. But what I've been most impressed with so far today is Michigan switching between their man defense and the zone defense. But for now, this is getting to halftime. Got about 6 minutes left prior to Michigan and Northwestern continuing their battle here in Evanston. So welcome into the Michigan basketball halftime report here on WCBN Sports Ann Arbor to review the first half. The scoring tonight got off to a really slow start as the score was just 3-1 at the under 16 timeout. We now sit at Michigan 26, Northwestern 25. Michigan made just one of their last 7 before the final whistle in the first half, but they led by as much as 5 with 10 minutes to go here in the first 20 minutes of play. What really stood out to me in the first 20 is Michigan's free throw shooting. They shot 5 of 7. Jace Howard and Terrace Reed with a combined 3 of 4 at the line of the first half. Yes, you heard me right. Terrace Reed Jr. and Jace Howard with a combined 3 of 4 after beginning the season 11 of 42 as a duo. Also, Michigan's three-point shooting. Joey Baker, Kobe Buffkin, and Jet Howard all found bottom for Michigan one time apiece. Both Michigan and Northwestern go 3 of 13 combined in the first half. The final 90 seconds, Michigan was able to outscore Northwestern just 4-3, but it gave Michigan a 1-point edge as we head into the final 20 minutes here from Welsh-Ryan Arena in Evanston, Illinois, just north of Chicago, Chicago's Big Ten team. Kobe Buffkin had 5 points in the first 20 minutes. Now, the 5 points might not stand out to you, but let's go one column to the right and look at his rebounds. Kobe Buffkin, a career-high 10 rebounds in the first half of play here tonight. Most rebounds by the sophomore from Grand Rapids, Michigan, in one half play in his short Michigan career. A quiet night so far in the top 25 as 19th-ranked Florida Atlantic trails UAB by 1 point. It's 4 minutes away from the break in Birmingham, Alabama. Inside the Big Ten, only one other contest taking place tonight as Ohio State currently plays host to Wisconsin down in Columbus at Value City Arena. 2 teams looking to get their season back on track here a little over halfway through Big Ten play. The Badgers lead the Buckeyes by 16, 43-27, right before halftime behind Stephen Kroll's 11 points for Wisconsin. Michigan will, of course, see Ohio State on Sunday at the Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor. Michigan looking for their first victory over Ohio State at home since the winter spring of 2019. They have lost their last 2 at the Chrysler Center against the Scarlet and Gray. Across the state of Michigan, no action tonight, but Eastern Michigan heads to Muncie, Indiana to face off with Ball State tomorrow night at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Michigan Northwestern doing battle here, just about 3 minutes away from the second half of play in Evanston at Welsh-Ryan Arena here on the WCBN halftime show. My name is Zach Linfield, prior to taking over with Neal Sinha here in the second half. But let's take a look at the starting 5 on the floor for both teams and how they fared in the first 20 minutes. Doug McDaniel, 2 points. Hunter Dickinson, 8. Kobe Buffkin, 5. A 0 spot so far for Terrence Williams. He's taken just 2 shots from the field, 1 deuce and 1 3-point. And Jet Howard is just 1 of 5 from the floor with that lone 3-pointer. Michigan shooting just 29% from the field and 23% from beyond the arc. At the charity stripe, Michigan shooting 71.5%. Well, they also are out rebounding Northwestern 24-19. Now let's flip the script. Boo Buie for Northwestern leading the way for the Cats with the 11 points and 19 out of 20 minutes played in the first half. He is shooting 4 of 7 from the field, and he has made all 3 of Northwestern's three-pointers. Chase Audige has taken 9 shots and only converted on 2 free throws, so he just has 2 points so far. Ty Berry, a 0 in the scoring column as of right now. Rich Barnheiser has 4 points, shooting 100% from the field. He also joins Michigan native Matthew Nicholson from Clarkston High School with 4 points of his own, also shooting 100% from the field. As we mentioned, Northwestern 3 of 13 from beyond the arc, 4 of 8 from the free throw line. For a team that shoots pretty well from the stripe, they shoot 75.5% on the year. They are 9 of 26 from the field, and they have scored 5 transition points to Michigan's 0. So we welcome Neal Sinha to the broadcast. He'll have color commentary here in the second half. Neal, there's 1 minute to play before the final 20 minutes, and what seems like we've been saying it for weeks now, another must-win game for Michigan. They don't have too many left, but just beyond halfway through Big Ten play here, you figure almost every game from here on out is a must-win for the Mason.
Oh, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, this is a Michigan team that has had no sort of momentum all throughout this season. And so they need any sort of wins they can get. And this would be a very solid one against a Northwestern team that's, of course, 6-4 in conference and at home. I mean, an away game for the Wolverines. They'd love to get this one, get some sort of momentum going for the rest of the season. But hey, it's not going to be easy, Zach. Just a 1-point lead going into the second half. Northwestern is going to come out fighting in this second half.
We mentioned it in the pregame show. Not only has Michigan lost 5 of their last 7 here in regular season play, but they are 24-11 all time against Northwestern, including 6 straight victories. The last time that Northwestern beat Michigan in Chicago was in February of 2018 at All-State Arena when Welsh-Ryan Arena was undergoing renovations. The last win here at Welsh-Ryan Arena for Cats fans to see them knock off the Mason Blue was March 1st of 2017 on a last-second heave down the floor to Derek Pardon from Vic Law. That was right over TJ Wilson. He's been in the NBA now for quite some time. And Northwestern stormed the court against a ranked Michigan team. It's been a while since Northwestern's been to the tournament. They've only made the tournament one time ever, and it was that season, a magical one for Northwestern.
A very magical one. I mean, of course, that Pardon bucket and that win against the Wolverines was a big reason why they made the tournament that season. They're looking for something similar to happen today. They
needed a signature win, didn't they? Well, Northwestern will begin with the basketball, trailing by 1 point, 26-25. Here from Welsh-Ryan Arena, Zach Linfield here with you alongside Neal Sinha. Chase Audige pulls up from the right elbow. He makes that one fall. And Northwestern grabs their first lead here of the second half. Michigan's got no one up at the basketball as Doug McDaniel tries to inbound.
Well, that's big.
Heaved to Jet Howard.
That's big for Audige right there. Was 0 of 9 in the first half. Gets that first bucket, kind of lifts the cap off the basket, so to say.
Chase Audige now has 4 points. He's just 1 of 10 now from the field. The other 2 points coming at the free throw line. Jet Howard drives on Boo Poo. He'll now back it out. Throw an intercepted pass to Chase Audige, who drives in the fast break for Ty Berry. There's his first 2 points in the afternoon.
Well, and just as I said, we knew Northwestern was going to come out firing. They're going to try, I think, to get quick in transition and get some quick buckets. This is a Wildcats team that shot around 35% from the field in that first half. They got to get stuff going offensively.
Right wing, Hunter Dickinson to Terrace Williams. Now Doug McDaniel dribbling at the left wing. Hunter Dickinson now left elbow. He clears out the defense. He wants Matthew Nicholson, the Michigan native, one-on-one. Dickinson drives. It was a foul ball. He went up with the left. It was blocked with Nicholson's right. And that foul is going to go against the 7-footer from Clarkston, Michigan. It'll be his second foul and the first one this half against Matthew Nicholson. So Hunter Dickinson to the line to shoot loose.
Well, and I tell you what, Hunter got bailed out right there because that was not a good play. They were bringing the double over with Robbie Baran. And if he didn't get fouled, he was probably not going to make that bucket over 2 long stretched arms. Michigan will take it nonetheless.
Dickinson makes the first and make it a pair. It's now 29-28 Northwestern. 75 seconds into the second half. Boo Boo, he dribbles it up the floor, gives it away to Chase Audige. Michigan running a zone press. Back to the Northwestern logo for Bowie, left wing for Barron. Jason Deege calls for a screen, gives it away to Nicholson. It's Michigan hedging all screens right now. They went under in the first half. It now looks like they're going over all screens. Ty Berry retreats, now gives away to Barron. He'll work on Terrence Williams. To the right post, gives out Deege straightaway three-pointer that will miss. And Nicholson will grab the offensive rebound. Jason Deege now at the right wing. Draws a screen from Nicholson, and he will throw it out of bounds. Ty Berry went left. Jason Deege thought he was going to go right, and that's a turnover against the Northwestern senior from Gorham, New York.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those cases where Northwestern has just been out of sync offensively. We'll see if they can turn that around here.
There's a screen from Hunter Dickinson for Doug McDaniel. Well, he had a shot open, and he didn't take it. Now Jet Howard back to Kobe Buffkin, back to Howard. Joey Baker will check in immediately at the next whistle. Hunter Dickinson draws a double team in the corner. Doug McDaniel, can he get his feet set? No, but he'll float one up from the right baseline. That's off the mark. Nicholson grabs the board. Here comes Deege in transition for the Wildcats. Deege, a hesitation, dribble steps back in front of Jet Howard. That one's way long. Terrence Williams comes down with the rebound. His first three today were all offensive. Kobe Buffkin gives away. Dickinson hooks one up for two, and Michigan grabs the lead right back after the opening run from Northwestern.
Nice use of the transition there by the Wolverines, getting quickly on the offensive end and then getting it quick too, as easily as they can. This is a great Northwestern team in the half-court defense.
Michigan has been swapping between zone and man defense today as Bowie splits defenders, lays it up with the left, no good. The rebound goes to Nicholson. His putback is no good. And Dickinson comes down with the board. Transition for Michigan and Doug McDaniel. Floats it down low. Kobe Buffkin gets a friendly roll, and Michigan's in front by a triple.
Wow. A ball on a string right there by Doug McDaniel. How about that handling ability? And then the nice awareness and the pass to Buffkin for two.
16:50 on the clock. Michigan 32, Northwestern 29. Gotta watch out for Boo Boo. He will pull from anywhere. Ball's on the floor. If they're going to get a Michigan foul, I think this one might go against Doug, and it will. So Joey Baker will check in. Jet Howard to the bench. There's a couple of substitutions as well for Northwestern. Roper, Barnheiser, and Verhoeven. Julian Roper playing in his first game since January 23rd against Wisconsin. Played 33 minutes off the bench in the first matchup against the Wolverines back on January 15th. Scored 6 points, 5 boards. All 6 points came from beyond the arc. Here's Boo Buie at the free throw line. Dribbling into Buffkin. Outside the chase, Deege, who draws Joey Baker. He wants to go down low, but Dickinson is right in front of Verhoeven. And a double team comes. Back out to Bowie. Bowie drives with the right, blocked away by Buffkin. Right back to Bowie. Floats it up with the right hand. No good. As the shot clock was at 1, Joey Baker retrieves it. And here comes Michigan in their all-maize uniforms. Baker gives Dickinson. Hunter drives to the left. Into a defender. There's a blocking call coming. Oh, boy. Hunter may have gotten away with the walk there as Brooks Barnheiser wanted to draw his second offensive foul of the night. Michigan still in front by 3, just 12 seconds away from the under 16.
Yeah, I think Dickinson, again, got a little bit bailed out by the refs, and Michigan will certainly take it. You know, that's just basketball. Sometimes you get the call, sometimes you don't.
Doug McDaniel, the inbound to Kobe Buffkin, just beyond the right block. And now on the far side, Doug McDaniel has it in the corner. Terrence Williams looking to back down Roper. He's got him one-on-one. Double team comes. Outside Baker. Baker will fire away a 3-foul. Come on! Give it to me, Joey Baker. The transfer from Duke puts in a triple and add one to it as we have hit the under 16 timeout at exactly 16 minutes to go here in the second half. A big-time bucket from number 15 as we head into this short break.
My gracious, what a shot by Joey Baker. I was going to say he had Kobe Buffkin wide open in the near corner, and maybe the swing pass should have gone because the Wildcats got, they closed out pretty well on that three, but Baker just put it up because he has that quick release, Zach, and then draws the foul. Michigan up 6. It's kind of felt like Northwestern got off to a good start, but it's gone away a little bit.
Michigan has gone on a run of their own here. It's a 9-0 run over almost the last 3 minutes of play. They've knocked in all of their last 3 field goals. And Northwestern is 0 of their last 6. So, Neal, this run inspired by Joey Baker at the end. They got off to a good start because they started running in transition, something we did not see whatsoever in the first half. Michigan was trailing in the transition points 5-0 heading into the final 20.
Yeah, and I mean, that was the case, by the way. Like, there weren't many transition points in general this game. I've always said that transition points, it's something that a lot of other coaches, Tom Izzo being one, I know Michigan fans don't like that, but a lot of coaches love to preach the importance of transition points. They're some of the easiest points you'll get in basketball where you can get out and run in some free space. You don't have 5 guys set in the half court, so you have to set screens, make some great moves and get around. Sometimes it's just sheer speed and transition to get buckets. And Michigan's certainly been taking advantage of it. Northwestern tried a little bit. They got their second bucket of this half in transition. But I think both of these teams need to maybe focus that a little bit more. It's been a very slow-paced game in general, and I think we'll see a little bit of speed coming back in this game.
Not even talking the ball right now before this timeout finishes. What do you make of Welsh-Ryan Arena? I know you and Zach discussed it a little bit in the first half, but this is a lot like Wayne State's new arena, except Wayne State doesn't have this smaller upper deck, we'll call it. But it's a very condensed, compact arena, and the student sections are full tonight, but the general public, they've left a couple seats open.
It is, and I, it reminds me a little bit. You said Wayne State. If you've ever been to EMU, Eastern Michigan's basketball arena, it reminds me a little bit of that actually too, where you have the close overhead, just a few upper level seats. I don't mind it. I mean, it's a very small environment. I was kind of surprised, frankly, walking in to think that this is a Big Ten team.
Yeah,
It has the looks of a much smaller school, but at the same time, when you don't have the huge fan base that will show up for these games, you don't need all the extra seats. And I mean, even today, just as you said, they have left a few open.
I think that's a funny thing too, because Neal, you met up with a friend from Northwestern prior to the game today that is also a native of Ann Arbor, but to Ann Arbor Pioneer High School. He said that students now have to claim tickets. In the past, they haven't had to claim tickets because the demand hasn't been there. But this year, for this team that's sitting at 15-6 with a great chance to go to the tournament, that they've got to wait to get their tickets, and they're selling out like candy.
Yeah, and the students were here very, very early, by the way. I mean, they've been here since around 45.
Turning students away is what we're hearing.
Yeah, yep. And the student section has been, completely full and pretty loud, too. They got to be hoping that maybe transfers into their older faithful, so to say.
Joey Baker only shoots 59% from the free throw line. He converts the 4-point play there, so you can count all of them. 36-29, under 16 to play here in Evanston. Michigan in front. Chase Audige on the far sideline draws Doug McDaniel. Michigan was in the full-court press without Jace Howard, and now they will move into a man defense. Verhoeven top of the key, hands off Bowie. He goes around a screen, draws Dickinson. He pinwheeling his way around the paint. Rebound comes down to Kobe Buffkin after a slight tap. A hook shot was no good there from Bowie. 30 seconds past the timeout here. Buffkin crosses over Chase Audige, the Northwestern logo, the big N right at midcourt. Michigan likes to use a lot of the shot clock really before penetrating. They'll penetrate here with 13 to go on the clock. Buffkin steps back, dumps inside. Hunter Dickinson with the left, off back iron. Rebound to Terrence Williams, has it knocked away out of bounds by Chase Audige. Boy, Terrence Williams has no points, but he has done it all on the glass today, especially offensive. 5 of his 6 boards are on the O glass.
I was just going to say, Michigan has rebounded the ball so well today. Williams with 7 rebounds and Buffkin with 11.
Inbound pass, Joey Baker, a spot up deuce. That one falls, and Michigan has their biggest lead extended to 9. It's 38-29. Boy, wouldn't this one be so big for Michigan to have this afternoon?
It certainly would, and I tell you what, Zach, that Baker stroke is just smooth.
Looks good right now. 0s on 0s. Bowie on Doug McDaniel gives away to Chase Audige. Top of the key, Verhoeven. Gives it back to Bowie around the screen. He may have gotten away with a walk there. Barnheiser fires away a 3. Off back iron. Rebound down to the smallest man on the court, Doug McDaniel. Field dribbled it across the timeline. Moving quickly in transition. Hands away. Joey Baker looked at a 3. Doesn't want to take it. Back out Doug McDaniel, the logo. Dribbling on the far side. Now he will make his way a little bit closer to Juwan Howard, dressed in maize today with the blue pants. Doug McDaniel to Terrence Williams. Under 10 on the shot clock. He's got Roper on him. Well, Terrence got to do something. Only 5 on the shot clock. Gives away Buffkin. That's a deep 3 from the left wing off the front iron. And the rebound falls down to Roper after 1 bounce.
It looked like initially Michigan wanted to run quickly on the offensive end. Then they had to slow down.
Bowie drives. He draws Dickinson. That's not a matchup he's going to want in the post. Bowie turns around, floats it off the glass. I don't know exactly what Hunter was doing there, but he allowed a full spin from Bowie to give him another 2 points.
I think Hunter was caught looking around. I don't know what he was looking at, but not great defense there for the Wolverines.
38-31, the Michigan Edge. They lead it by a touchdown and an extra point. McDaniel around a screen. Gives to Buffin. Nice pass there. Dickinson crams it down with 2 hands, and he draws the foul on Verhoeven. How about that for a Michigan response?
Wow. What a throwdown by Hunter Dickinson with the 2-hand slam. My goodness. Did he make up for it on the offensive end right there?
But I think the ball movement made up for it even more. That was San Antonio Spurs-esque there from Michigan. The way they moved the ball around. See how much different this team is when they space the ball out. Hunter Dickinson shoots 71% from the stripe this season. He is now 5 of 5. And Hunter now has his 13th, 14th, and 15th points of tonight's matchup with Northwestern. Michigan by 10, their biggest lead of the afternoon.
I like this full court press, by the way, for Michigan. They've been slowing down the Northwestern offense. They don't really get set in the half court quickly.
Bowie fires up a 3. That's long. Rebound down to guess who? Terrence Williams, who's working on the glass. No points, 7 boards. Williams to McDaniel. Again, 0-on-0. Back outside. Left wing 3 for Terrence Williams. Bottle. Timeout, Chris Collins and Northwestern. Michigan, a game-high 13-point lead. How about that from these Wolverines? It is a 21-2 run for the Maize and Blue with 13:09 to play here in the second half.
Yeah, they're moving now. They are moving now, Zach. I mean, this is a great start to the second half for this Michigan team, and they're hitting on all cylinders. We haven't seen this in a very long time for Michigan, where they're penetrating the defense, they're getting down low, getting the buckets, converting on the layups, and then they're opening it up on the perimeter, and they're actually hitting the threes. I mean, we've talked about the shooting struggles for so long for this Michigan team, and still today, in total, 31% from 3. But in the second half, they've made some 2 big ones so far.
I'll tell you what, we talked about it just a little bit when you and I got on the call here at halftime. And I said the confidence Michigan is showing while shooting the 3 ball is something that we haven't really seen these last couple of games. They didn't shoot very confidently from beyond the arc against Purdue. I think a lot of that is not having Jet Howard in that game. But then Penn State, they weren't necessarily confident because the margin of deficit was so big in last Sunday's loss. Now they're seeing open shots and they're taking them. Joey Baker for a while seemed a little reluctant to take all the 3-pointers, but no, Joey, shoot those. We want to see you shoot them. Now Terrence Williams takes a wide open 3 again because of transition offense. Something Michigan hasn't done a lot today, but now it's starting to pay off.
It definitely is. I mean, just as you said, I think Michigan has a couple players that do have the ability to shoot the ball well. I mean, Jet Howard certainly being one of them. Joey Baker certainly being one of them. And it's interesting you made that note because, you know, just 2 weeks ago with this Michigan team, Joey Baker was not shooting the ball a lot. He did not have many attempts per game from behind the arc. As of recently, I think Juwan Howard and the coaching staff have given him that green light. Just let it go from 3. And you know what? They should be. He is Baker coming into the day shooting 40.4% from 3, and he's 2 of 3 downtown today. They need him to keep it going.
Michigan shot 3 of 13 in the first half from beyond the arc. The Wolverines are now 2 of 3 in the second half, which combines for 5 of 16. But one thing that I've really noticed today, Michigan shooting from the free throw line has been exceptional. They're 9 of 11. I mentioned it in the halftime. It probably dropped some jaws that Jace Howard and Terrace Reed are a combined 3 of 4 to start the season. Read that stat right there.
11 of 42.
They were 11 of 42,
Yeah.
which I believe is dead last and second to dead last in the Big Ten.
Yeah, no, I mean that is awful right there. And frankly, you know, as a college athlete and college basketball player, you should be shooting the ball from the line much better than 23%.
You and I discussed this
or even
on the
35%.
drive
Yeah.
to Evanston, that these are college athletes, and I understand the pressures of anything really going through the head of a collegiate athlete, but you're saying these are free throws. It's in the name.
They're free. Yeah. Yep. I mean, Zach and I, the other Zach, I should say, and I talked about that briefly beforehand. I mean, they're giving away those points. You got to take advantage of them, and Michigan, for once today, has been.
Back underway here in Evanston, Michigan leading at 44-31 over Northwestern. Running the offense, Boo Buie, coordinating things, floats it up with the left. Oh boy, that's a special shot from Boo Buie. We got it to go on Kobe Puffkin. Northwestern now shooting just 2 of their last 11, and the deficit is cut to 11. Michigan into the offense, and Doug McDaniel off the screen from Dickinson will draw the 3rd foul on Matthew Nicholson, the Michigan native, 7-foot center. Scored 13 points, put up 5 rebounds in the matchup with Michigan back on the 15th of January.
Tell you what, though, Boo Buie is so crafty on offense. I mean, just slicing his way through the defense. Keep in mind, by the way, Northwestern has 5 team fouls, something to watch out for.
Nice pass there from Doug McDaniel down low to Hunter Dickinson, working into contact, has a shot, puts it up, no good, and it will bounce around, carry him everywhere, and finally Terrence Williams grabs it, and he's got his first 2 today. He's got 5 now. He made the 3-pointer a minute ago.
They're sticking with it on the offensive end. Gotta like the effort from the Maize and Blue.
Also like the effort there from Verhoeven. It just didn't work out for him. Barnheiser straightaway 3 comes down to Doug McDaniel on the near sideline. He will dribble it up the floor in transition for Michigan. Like this 0-0 matchup, McDaniel and Buie. He'll float up a runner. That's a good shot lately from Doug McDaniel. This time it rims off. Rebound down to Nicholson, and Buie will run the floor for the Cats. Spin move on Kobe Puffkin. First step for Buie. So explosive. Great defense there from Kobe Puffkin as he's completely bottling up Boo. Now a left elbow jumper for Robbie Barron. Off the front of the iron, off the back of the iron, and down to Hunter Dickinson. Here comes the Maize and Blue.
Just fantastic defense in Buffalo.
There's going to be a foul here on Robbie Barron off ball. Looked like Michigan was trying to get an off-ball screen between Joey Baker and Terrence Williams II. And Robbie Barron was called for the hedge because Michigan wanted to go back door, but Robbie Barron would not allow them to open it. So there's a timeout on the floor. Under 12 minutes to play here, 11:38 specifically on the clock. Michigan leads at 46-33 over Northwestern, behind an incredible start here in the final 20 minutes. Michigan 20-4 over the last 7.
That is a wild stat. And it's funny because it doesn't even feel like Michigan has really dominated it the last 7 minutes of this game. But you know what? They're making their shots on offense and they're playing some good defense. I was just going to say the bigger thing in my mind for the rest of this game, Northwestern has 6 team fouls. Michigan is in the bonus already, and we have just under 12 minutes to go this half. That's going to be a big killer for the Wildcats when you're on defense. I mean, they can't be too aggressive, otherwise Michigan's going to be sent to the line. Now, the free throw problems we talked about earlier this game are going to come back and be a big focal point when they're constantly getting to the line.
Michigan has a team to shoot 68.5% from the free throw line. So, with a 13-point lead, we're going to have to see how Michigan shoots from the charity stripe for the rest of this ball game. Tell you what, Northwestern, they do a pretty good job of these on-court.
I was just going to say the same. I've never seen this. It's pretty cool, though, where they have the fans doing a little bit of a relay race, and you have to pick up an extra basketball every time you tag it off.
On the ground.
How are the anchor's going to hold on to 5 basketballs is my question.
I mean, I don't know. How many basketballs are going to use it there? This is the stuff we talk about during media timeouts. Ad-free, of course.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I tell you what, I could not hold 5. I'll put it that way. And I guess nor can that guy.
And how would you even pick up the 5th is my question.
I don't know. Do you just kick the ball or something here? How does this work?
I don't know. This is
wow.
This is better than the first 4 minutes of play that we saw. The score was 3-1 after 4 minutes.
Yeah, hey, you got to give credit to the Northwestern fan experience here. Some solid on-court games.
Now let's talk about the upcoming schedule for Michigan, Neal. We know the season, it seems like it's just trickling down way too fast for this team that sits at 11-10. They have a large number of quadrant 1 games remaining. Michigan has yet to win a quadrant 1 game, but they're going to have to figure out how to do so. Today's game against Northwestern does count, as a quad one win. So this would be Michigan's first. So you want to knock on wood if you're at home. Michigan leads by 13, 46-33, with 11:38 to go as we're about to head out on a timeout. But the rest of the schedule, not all that easy for Michigan, but only one ranked team, Indiana, remains to match up with the Wolverines.
Well, and considering the Big Ten only has 2 ranked teams, I think it's a very gettable schedule for Michigan. And then, of course, we'll see what they can do in the Big Ten tournament. A little fun trivia for the fans out there. How many quad one games do you think Michigan has played this season? Of course, you said they haven't won any.
Trivia for me?
For you and the fans.
8.
Well, there you go. It is 8. Of course, you probably have that stat right in front of you.
Play resumes with Michigan leading by 13 here from Welsh-Ryan Arena in Evanston. Terrace Reed has checked in for Hunter Dickinson. Ty Berry back in for the Wildcats. Kobe Bumpkin with his left. Strong put up. Boy, he put some English on that one to roll it up and in. And Michigan leads by 15, matching their game high.
That's a big boy bucket right there. Using his shoulder, creating just enough space, then floats it off the lane or off the window.
Kobe Bumpkin had a career-high 20. The Wolverines faced off with the Wildcats on January 15th. Audige back outside. This is Robbie Barron. Pump fake on Terrace Reed. Jr. swatted off the backboard. Coming the other way, Michigan. Doug McDaniel in transition. Looking for somewhere to go. Splits defenders. Dumps it down low. Terrace Reed tries to throw it up with the left. It goes out of bounds. I think that's one of those odd calls where the referees don't know if he tipped it, don't know if they fouled him. But in Michigan's case, you want to put Terrace Reed at the free throw line. He's 2 of 2 today.
Yes.
Only shoots 23% on the year from the line. Michigan on the inbounds. They have some really long inbound plays. They haven't gotten called for a 5-second this year, but boy, it's been close so many times. Doug McDaniel, the left wing, 10 on the play clock for Michigan, and they're all amazed against Northwestern's white uniforms today. Doug McDaniel, 5 on the play clock. Floats it up. That's no good. Rebound down to Bo Bowie.
Yeah, and Terrace Reed got to do a better job of creating contact on the pick and roll there.
There's a screen. Bowie from the right elbow. Drives inside on Reed. He'll draw a foul. 2 Wildcats will be checking in. Barnheiser and Fairholden. And going to the bench, Roper and Barron. On the floor for Michigan right now, Doug McDaniel, Kobe Buffkin, Terrence Williams, Joey Baker, and Terrace Reed Jr. Inbound pass from Bowie goes to Chase Audige left. Black puts it up over Doug McDaniel. Michigan needed a switch there, didn't get one, and the lead's cut to 13.
That's just a very nice play call from the out of bounds action right there. They had just a couple of curls, and Audige just ended up being wide open below the basket.
They show the replay on the scoreboard here. Welsh-Ryan, I think that's on Terrace Reed for not hedging that screen there. 10 to go here in Evanston. Terrace Reed from the right block. Got a post up against Verhoeven, and he throws an interception. Audige's going the other way. Driving on Joey Baker. Outside three-pointer for Barry off the mark. Terrence Williams fighting for the rebound. Comes down with it.
Barry's got to get his feet set right there. I mean, that's a spot up 3. Didn't have his feet set, and that just makes it a little bit more difficult.
He makes 1 of 3 on the season, shooting exactly 33%. Ty Berry today is 0 for 3. Terrace Reed. Hands off to Kobe Bumpkin, top of the key, out of the free throw line. Dumps into the corner. Joey Baker, pump fakes, fires away a 3. Bottom. Bring it up for Joey Baker. He's got himself another one. Michigan's largest lead of the afternoon is 16.
It's just automatic for number 15 from behind the arc. It's just such a smooth stroke. Very nice pass, by the way, from Buffkin.
Free throw line pass. Barnheiser steps back on Reed. That one caroms off. Down to Verhoeven. And there's going to be a Michigan foul coming here. It'll go against Joey Baker. Hunter Dickinson back to the scorer's table. He will check in. I'm interested to see what they do here. Yeah, they're going to leave the duo of Dickinson and Terrace Reed on the floor. And Northwestern will counter with size of their own with Julian Roper, the 6'3" guard from St. Mary's High School in Detroit. Inbound pass goes immediately to Roper. Michigan fell asleep there. And it's now 51-37. I think it was Joey Baker that time that took a quick nap. Under 9 to play here in Evanston.
That can't happen. That cannot happen, and that's why it's those type of plays are why Michigan's 11-10 on the season.
Doug McDaniel right in front of Juwan Howard, calling out the singles. Dickinson to Kobe Buffkin near corner. Buffkin dribbling. has it poked away, retrieves it right next to the official. He splits defenders. There's a foul called, and Kobe Buffkin will go to the free throw line. He's going to go against Titus Verhoeven. And it's going to be his 4th foul. So Verhoeven's now got 4. Kobe Buffkin will shoot the 1-and-1.
Wouldn't be a huge loss for the Wildcats, but I'm interested to see for Michigan. They brought in Hunter Dickinson with 9:01 left in this game, a little early in my opinion.
51-37 is now 52-37. Kobe Buffkin still at the line. He's now got 10 in double figures in both games this season against the Wildcats of Northwestern. Kobe, a slight crouch of the knees, fires it high into the air, and it falls right through. So Boo Buie into the offense for Northwestern, leads back to 16 for the Maize and Blue. Northwestern runs a really good offense. It's just like Michigan's in a way that it takes a while to get set up. They go a little bit faster into the shot clock than Michigan does. Poked away, Kobe Buffkin. Put it through, young man! The sophomore from Grand Rapids turns to the student section for Northwestern, talks a little trash, and Michigan's got an 18-point edge.
That was nice. I mean, that was nice. Boo Buie got caught sleeping a little bit with the ball in his hands, and Buffkin, such a great defender.
Full chocolate chip cookies there for Kobe Buffkin. Took it away. Boo Buie turns it over again. This time it's Joey Baker, a one-handed snatch with the left hand.
Yeah, this is getting away from the Wildcats. They need a stop here and a bucket on the other end
Michigan
immediately.
Gets a bucket here. I think Chris Collins might use another timeout, but there's also the media timeout looming here. Doug McDaniel with the right. Floats it up. That's blocked away. Boo Buie in transition. This is going to be a free bucket for the Wildcats as Audi's busts it down. Good up-court pass there from Boo Buie as Jet Howard makes his way to the table. And Juwan Howard and Michigan will call timeout. So typically you'll see this after a run, but instead, Juwan Howard will call a timeout there just to get the team under 8 minutes and get the media timeout on the floor. So this will count as the media under 8. Only one remaining. That'll be the under 4. The Wolverines have a 16-point lead here, running some really good offense.
Running some great offense. And I mean, it's funny because I think in the second half, it's been frankly almost either turnover or bust for this Michigan team, where on the last few possessions, they've made a couple of very errant passes. But other than that, man, they're making their shots. So I think the Wolverines have to be happy with what they've been seeing. They're hitting the open shots, which has been a problem all season long. And then on the other end, they're playing pretty solid defense as well. I think Boo Buie right now is a little bit stunned, so to say, where he got his pocket picked by Kobe Buffkin. Then immediately the next possession threw a turnover over. And so I think, Chris Collins probably getting the Wildcats to just settle down a little bit. But, man, it's not looking good for Northwestern, down 16 with just 7:30 to go.
Oddly enough for Michigan, look at the plus-minuses so far for this team. The only starter for Michigan with an under 10 plus-minus is Jet Howard. It's only at 2. Joey Baker is at 10. And Kobe Buffkin is at 14, along with Doug McDaniel. And Terrence Williams is also at plus 14. He's playing a really good game tonight. It might not show up in the stat sheet for Terrence Williams, especially in the scoring column. He's been all over the boards, and he's played some really good defense against a really good shooter in Chase Audini.
Yeah, and I think, Jet Howard just hasn't been a great game for him. With the first point that you said there, he has been fronted all over the place by Chase Audi's. And Audi's, as I said in the first half, is one of the best defenders in the country. Not just the Big Ten, the entire country. And it's certainly caused issues for Jet Howard. With the second player that you said, Terrence Williams, though, he's a great glue guy. He does the right things that coaches want. He's not going to go out there and put up 15 or 20 points. And frankly, he's not even going to go out there and put up 5 steals or so. But he just does what the team needs. He's a good facilitator on offense. And it's certainly shown that today. Not in the stat sheet, but Michigan's played well with it.
Another player we've talked about a lot tonight, but I think he deserves all the credit in the world. I think it's something about playing Northwestern for Kobe Buffkin that he just really likes. He put up a career-high 20 in the last matchup with the Wildcats. Now he's got a career-high in rebounds, Kobe Buffkin does, with 11. He set that in the first half. And it's not only the stat sheet that's really impressive with Kobe today. I think the other thing impressive for Kobe is he's played the majority of this game, not only at the 2, but he has shown efficiency at the 1 as well.
Yeah, he definitely has. I mean, we talked about that lineup in the first half where they had Kite on the court with Jace Howard, Terrace Reed. Buffkin was the facilitator on that team. And so we've been seeing Kobe Buffkin grow a little bit in front of our eyes because he's taken on a lot bigger of a role for this Michigan team ever since Jalen Llewellyn went down with that torn ACL.
We heard a lot about Kobe Buffkin putting on the weight in the offseason. Not saying he was exactly shrimpy his freshman year, but I mean, Kobe Buffkin now, last year he would not have been able to cover Boo Buie like he did on that last defensive possession. But play resumes, 7:30 to go, Michigan by 16, 55-39 here in Evanston. Doug McDaniel dribbling out the clock. Jet Howard, freshly off the bench, is at the right wing with it. Triple threat position gives it away to Joey Baker, who's had himself a good game. He drives, dumps it down low. Dickinson floats it up. The layup went, but I believe they're going to give Joey Baker an offensive foul. Yes, it will be. It's going to be his fourth.
It was a
Gotta
great
be careful now if you're Joey Baker, and he will come out. Kobe Buffkin, he got a chance to maybe take one sip of water, and he will come back into the ballgame.
It was a great pass by Baker, to be fair, but Barnheiser has done such a great job this game of getting set in position and drawing charges.
And being just outside the restricted zone, too. Boo Buie from the free throw line. He'll float one up. That's off the right side of the rim. He tried to fight for the rebound, but you're not going to get it away from big Terrace Reed Jr. So here's Doug McDaniel now. Probing and running the offense. Right next to Juwan Howard here on the near sideline. To Hunter Dickinson, top of the key. Gives it away to Jet Howard. Jet dribbling with his left. A waist-high dribble. Keeping it on a yo-yo. Picks up his dribble. And now has to float it back to McDaniel, who draws a switch on Audige. That's a matchup Michigan would love to have. Michigan with only 5 on the shot clock. Cross-court pass to Jet Howard and Boo Buie. An errant foul there. That's only his first. Northwestern's leading scorer has 15, and now he's got 1 foul.
Well, and it's
Michigan
another
got a
case.
gift there.
It was a good call. It was a foul, but it was another case of, just as you said, Michigan being gifted, frankly, where Boo Buie doesn't need to go after that ball like crazy. There was only around 5 seconds on the shot clock. And by the way, great job hedging by the Wildcats there. They were constantly forcing Michigan to back up and play and not really get any penetration.
1-1 here from Jet Howard is off back iron. Rebound is bounced up into the air and brought down by Barnheiser. So 6:30 to play. Michigan still in front by 16, but they've got to start making their free throws again if they want to close this one out against a really good Wildcats team. Michigan starting to go over screens. Audige pulls up from 3 right side. That's no good. Rebound down to Kobe Buffkin. They're in the transition with Doug McDaniel. He'll slow down to give it away to the 1 and 2 guard, Kobe Buffkin. Playing a little dance with Hunter Dickinson. Now draws the big man. Hunter Dickinson at the right elbow. Spins on Roper. Floats it up. That one's good for Hunter. A nice look down low from Kobe Buffkin, and the dance works out pretty well. A good tango there from 2 and 1.
That was nice. And there's some plays, man, that Hunter Dickinson just shows you why he's one of the best players in the Big Ten. That was certainly one of them.
Boo Buie trying to run the offense. He draws Terrace Reed. He drives inside on Terrace. Ooh, foul called. Bowie's going to go to the line, but that was pretty good defense there from the big man. I attended the Inside Michigan Basketball radio show on Monday, and Terrace Reed said the number one thing he wanted to improve on heading into this season from his high school season, oh boy, Neal, that's clean, was being able to cover 1 through 5. It looks really good right there. And the boos that you might hear, we're having a little bit of audio difficulties with our Nats mic today, is because the Michigan fans in attendance have shown out here today. They've been heard and been pretty loud this afternoon. Boo Buie puts home the first free throw. He's now got 16 on the afternoon.
Yeah, Wildcats got bailed out right there. It didn't look like too much contact from Terrace Reed, but nonetheless, Boo Buie gets 2 free throws.
And Buie makes them both. 1-man press from Boo Buie. I mean, Doug McDaniel's been a pretty good matchup here tonight. Jet Howard around the screen from Hunter Dickinson. Full head of steam to the right wing. Back outside Terrence Williams in white shoes, all maize uniform. Williams looks down low. Hunter Dickinson. Hunter's got 17. Outside pass. Jet Howard straightaway 3. Give me that! Now Michigan's got another biggest lead of the night. It's 19, 60-41. The maize and blue in front with 5:10 to go. Northwestern wanted to go backdoor. Chase Audish spins on Kobe Buffkin, finds his way inside the paint. I think it got tipped by Terrence Williams, but it still goes down for Northwestern. 5 even to play. The lead is 17.
Well, a quick note, the possession before, Jet Howard did a great job taking advantage of the one possession he had where they got the switch with Audish coming off it. Howard was left open with Barnheiser sleeping a little bit and makes him pay.
Doug McDaniel trying to split the defense, but now he will back out with 13 on the play clock. Doug to the corner for Kobe Buffkin. Inside, Hunter Dickinson with the left. That one Perrin's off. Rebound down to Barnheiser. He's got to convert on those. It's about the third time, and Juwan Howard makes a motion right to him and says, dunk it, Hunter. Bowie drives a baseline. Bowie with some English. That one rattles in. And the lead is now 15. I think Michigan, they'd love to get to the under 4 timeout here. Just take a breath and finish out this ball game, Neal.
They would, and great play by Boo Bowie right there to use the basket as a little bit of your help and to protect the block from Hunter Dickinson.
Down low pass, Hunter Dickinson. Faces Nicholson straight up. He goes into him, blocked away by Nicholson, who is their blocks leader. And here comes Northwestern. We're under 4 with the timeout looming. Outside pass, Barnheiser drives on Buffkin. Foul called. It's a block. It'll go against Kobe. So we are at the under 4. That's only a 16 foul for Michigan. So no free throws coming for Northwestern. But Michigan, you got to finish this one out now. You're right there. You're right there. 3:52 to go, up by 15. What we've seen, beats for this team kind of disappear in the last 4 before.
Yeah, and I mean, they're kind of in a different position than they've been in the past where 15-point lead with just under 4 left, that's a pretty safe lead. Granted, we've seen much crazier things. But yeah, I mean, you bring up a very good point. This is a Michigan team that has really struggled with holding on to leads. I mean, we've seen it in the North Carolina game, the Kentucky game, a few big games that they've had where they just can't hold it all the way until the triple zeros are on the board, and then they end up losing by around 4 or 5. They need this win. I mean, we've talked about it over and over on this broadcast, how important this game would be for the Wolverines to pick up. And on the other end for Northwestern, if I'm Chris Collins, I'm telling my team right now, just cut it to 10 by the 3-minute mark, and you have a chance. So that means get a stop, then go on the other end, quick bucket, get a stop, quick bucket. If that can happen, they're right back in this game, and everything's left to play for.
Just a little quick eye around the rest of the country right now. Like I mentioned, a quiet top 25 day as UAB unranked leads 19th ranked Florida Atlantic by 14 with a little over 8 to play down in Birmingham, Alabama. That game is on the CBS Sports Network right now. Looking for anything else to watch tonight, but why wouldn't you want to listen to WCBN's sports coverage? But in the Big Ten, Wisconsin currently holding a lead in Columbus over Ohio State. Great day for Stephen Kroll for the Badgers as Wisconsin leads at 62-47. 3:52 here to play in Evanston at Welsh-Ryan Arena. Chicago's Big Ten team, Northwestern, just north of the city. I'm really thankful for not being stuck in a bunch of traffic. Heard all about that Chicago traffic and how bad it was. I think we got in at the perfect time today. We got in around 3. Yeah. Game time was 6. So I think we got a little bit lucky, but an easy drive here to Evanston. So I would recommend this place for Michigan fans in the future. If you want to come listen or not, if you want to listen to a ball game, you can always listen to WCBN. If you want to go to an arena that's a bit unique, especially for Big Ten, come to Evanston. That's a nice spot for a ball game.
I completely agree, and I would also say it's a very friendly arena in that it's not a very intimidating environment for away fans at all. Now, we did have a little bit of trouble with a couple security guards, but nonetheless, everyone else here has been fantastic. And by the way, just a few quick notes back to ball. Northwestern, they don't have a single quad 3 loss. That's what this would be defined as with an opponent with a net ranking over 75, and Michigan's 83 right now. They cannot lose this game. I mean, seriously, this is a must-win game coming into this for Northwestern. This would be a killer for this Wildcats team that already has 4 quad 1 wins, by the way. They're 4-4 in the quad.
They got a good resume.
They do. They do.
Resume.
They're certainly sitting on the inside of the NCAA tournament as of right now. But, man, this would not help them.
And it's a dangerous team come March for sure, with Bowie leading the charge. Bowie a corner 3 That one's off the mark. Rebound down to Jet Howard, fighting all over, and he's going to draw a foul on Julian Roper. That's not needed there from Roper, who is a Detroit native. That will send the 10 on the floor plus the 3 referees all the way to the near side where we're perched above. We're right at about the free throw line, looking right at Jet Howard, who is about to shoot the final 1-on-1 opportunity for Michigan.
Yeah, just not a smart foul by Roper. There's no need to foul a guy 80 feet from the basket. By the way, Michigan again got bailed out. Boo Buie was wide open for 3 on the inbounds play.
First one is a swish home for Jet Howard. 61-45 is the Wolverine lead now. Jet obviously missed last Thursday's tilt with Purdue as the second one falls. Jet goes 2 for 2 at the stripe there. Came back for the Penn State game, starts 6 of 6, but Michigan as a team just did not play all that well. This is a great response for this team who's got 3 straight at home coming up at the Chrysler Center. Northwestern, good ball moving outside of the arc. Barnheiser looks at a left wing 3, doesn't take it. Now draws inside. Nice English shot layup. 3.5 to go. That's really the first time that Terrence Williams has allowed a pretty easy bucket here today. The lead is back to 15.
Well, and that was just a bad switch. No communication there between Jet Howard and Hunter Dickinson at all. They did not switch on that.
Doug McDaniel floats it down low to Hunter Dickinson, but Jet Howard takes it back out. Kobe Buffkin drives the right baseline. Looking for Terrence Williams. A wide open left elbow J is good. Lead is back to 17. Juwan Howard urging his team to get a defensive stop here. It's kind of ticking down to that point where Michigan gets one more stop. It's looking out of reach for Northwestern, but they've got Boo Buie on the other side. Buie drew another switch, dumps it down low. Nicholson, oh boy, he airballed everything. Missed everything but the floor on that shot. And a 2:40 to go. The crowd is beginning to head out here in Evanston. Doug McDaniel just dribbling at the logo. Right at midcourt. He draws Nicholson on a switch. Terrence Williams now top of the key. Jet Howard, a deep left wing 3. That's way off. The rebound will come down to Boo Buie running in transition. Buie driving on Buffkin, trying to get a stop, lays it up with the left, and that one falls. The lead is down to 15. Chris Collins calls timeout for Northwestern. They will have one remaining after this 30-second timeout. But Michigan, they will now be in the double bonus the rest of the way. Northwestern still has multiple 1-on-1 opportunities before they can get into the bonus here, Neal. But 15-point lead, 2:16 to go. You just can't fold now. You got to play good defense and obviously make your shots at the free throw line.
Yeah, just as you said, can't fold. I think, Michigan's done a solid job, holding on to this lead, but it might sound crazy to say when the team's up 15. I want to see a lot of focus from Juwan Howard's squad here. Finish this game out and finish it out strong. Keep that momentum going into the next game. Michigan, frankly, they've had a little bit of some mental lapse today. Got very lucky on an inbounds play just a minute and a half ago where Boo Buie was left wide open in the corner. Let's just see some consistency with this team, and let's see them finish it out, get a great win on the road in the Big Ten. It's not easy to do that. And then you move on and you worry about Ohio State this weekend.
Wanted to talk quickly about that 3-game homestand upcoming for Michigan. But we will get to that likely in the postgame or if we have another timeout here. Inbound pass goes to Hunter Dickinson. Terrence Williams back to Doug McDaniel, who draws a double team from Northwestern here in a zone press. Hunter up the floor, dumps it down Kobe Buffkin. He will flush it home with 2 hands. And the lead is ballooned to 17 for the Maize and Blue. Here's Jay Saudis running the floor for Northwestern. A little bit slow now, under 2 to play here in Evanston. Boo Buie drives inside, lays it up, and lays it in. Boo Buie now has 23, which is more than he had in the first matchup this season with Michigan back on the 15th of January. Inbound pass from Terrence Williams to Hunter Dickinson. Cross court to Doug McDaniel. 1:35 to go. I think Michigan's got this one in their back pocket, Neal.
Yeah, they definitely
Let's
do.
chalk this one up as a Wolverine dub. They needed this one.
I think the Wildcats, just as you said, have kind of waved the white flag a little bit.
Quick cheer here from the Michigan faithful. 1:20 to play. Doug McDaniel with the right hand. Draws Robbie Barrett. He's going to have to float one up here. Down to Dickinson outside. Jet Howard. Why not one more? That's off the mark. Roper. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Roper fell down to the ground. And the way he fell was absolutely non-contact. Did he just roll his ankle on his own foot?
I have no clue, to be honest. I wasn't
He came down with the
all
rebound,
there.
dumped the ball off to Boo Booey, and Roper hit the hardwood. It's never a good look when anything's non-contact, and that's what drew the oh no for me. Is whenever there's something non-contact, you
Yeah, it's even
typically think
worse.
the worst.
And man, that's such a killer and a heartbreak because this game is over pretty much.
He gets up and he'll walk off on his own power. And Saudi Washington will walk out to the three-point line and give Julian Roper a little slap on the hand, make sure he's all right because Saudi, he recruited Julian Roper out of St. Mary's in Detroit. He will take a slow walk off the floor.
Yeah,
And I think a big reason why the slow walk too is because this one's well over. But figure he'd get a little bit of help, especially the way that he went down.
yeah, I think with the way he's walking off, that to me signals that it's a little bit of an ankle sprain. He rolled it probably again. I mean, he came into this game with an injury, and so they'll probably just put some ice on that thing, and you just hope that he's back soon.
So this will be the third time this season that Northwestern has lost back-to-back games. First time came at the beginning of the season with Auburn and Pitt. The next time came against Rutgers and Michigan, and now it will be Iowa and Michigan again. Kobe Buffkin strips it away from Ty Berry. A couple backups in the game now for Northwestern, including Nick Martinelli, playing good defense against Kobe. I think Kobe might throw one more up here, but he'll give it away to Doug McDaniel, who has just 2 points, but he's played a good game today. Crosses over Martinelli. Got him sliding a little bit. Dunn floats it up, and alley-oop jam for Hunter Dickinson. Why not one more for Michigan? Whistles on the floor, not sure why. But the lead is now Michigan 68, Northwestern 51. Hunter Dickinson's got 19. Hold on, I think they just called this a goaltend, Neal.
I'm not very sure, to be honest. That it's marked as the dunk is good, and they're up 17. But wow, that's interesting.
Well, Chase Audige will drive inside on Terrence Williams. He will now retreat with 20 on the shot clock, about a 5-second difference. Barnheiser drives baseline on Hunter Dickinson as it bounced off his leg, and that one will go in favor of Michigan.
Yeah, and that's kind of been a summation of this night for Northwestern. I mean, Barnheiser makes a great move and then just loses the ball out of bounds. What a great win will be for the Wolverines.
Now, what do you think Michigan's going to have to do to extend this winning streak now? It's one, but they've got 3 games coming up at home.
Yeah, I mean this is absolutely huge for the Wolverines. I apologize. I was looking at Juwan Howard because it seemed like there was a little bit of something going on the court right now. And frankly, I don't think Chris Collins took it too kindly that Michigan had that alley-oop at the end. But
low shot clock, Michigan wanted one more shot. I don't think it was necessarily meant to be.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
A shot from Doug McDaniel. But that's going to do it. Zeros on the clock. Michigan and Northwestern will meet at the near baseline to say job well done. Job better done today by the Michigan Wolverines. They come away with a 68-51 victory here on the road in Evanston. Just Michigan's second road win in Big Ten play. They've now lost 5 of their last 8. But now they've got a chance to go home to the friendly confines of Ann Arbor and the Chrysler Center and potentially do something to do a complete 180 from what it looked like this team was going to do. They got home on Sunday, Ohio State, home on Wednesday, Nebraska, and then home on Saturday against a ranked Indiana team. They got a golden opportunity to go and do something and try and get hot before, late February, March, where the team has really thrived in these past couple of seasons.
Yeah, and all these games are winnable. I mean, they are very winnable. You got a 3-9 in conference Nebraska team, a 3-7 in conference Buckeyes team, and a 6-5 in conference Indiana team. Those are not too great of teams, and so Michigan has opportunities here. Got to take advantage of them. I mean, and when you also consider the fact that those games will be at home, they got to protect their home court and win those games that they should. Great opportunity, Zach. I mean, listen, it's been a rough season. There's no doubt about it. And I think just to even mention the words NCAA tournament and Michigan basketball is crazy. But you know what? They do still have something ahead of them to play for. And just as you said, if they can get hot here at the end of February and maybe do something in the Big Ten tournament, you never know what can happen.
Well, let's take a look at the final box score tonight before we wrap it up. Northwestern, they were led by, guess who? You heard the name all night. Boo Boo, he led the way for them. He had 22 in the first matchup. He scores 45 combined points in the season series against Michigan. And who knows, maybe it's not over yet. The Big Ten tournament still looms. But he puts up 23 this afternoon on 3 of 6 from downtown and 9 of 19 from the floor. He also had 8 assists, but he turned the ball over 4 times, which is a little unorthodox for number 0 in white tonight. Chase Audish put up 10. He was the only other Wildcat in double figures tonight. But on Michigan's side, Neal, it looked significantly better as a team. Joey Baker off the bench put up 14, but starters Kobe Buffkin had 15. Hunter Dickinson put in 19 after a slow start.
I thought this was a Kobe Buffkin classic today. This is one of the best games I think we've seen in a long time from Kobe Buffkin. Did it on both ends, really. I mean, 6 of 11 from the field, as you said, added in a 3 with 15 points, but then 12 rebounds this game. He had 11 coming in the first half, 8 assists, almost a triple-double, not to mention 2 steals and a block. I mean, he just filled up the stat line today. It was spectacular from Kobe Buffkin. Did a solid job guarding both Boo Buie and Audish throughout this game. And then from there, I think Hunter Dickinson did what Michigan needed him to do. You know, solid game for Hunter, nothing special really. And Jet Howard, he dealt with a very difficult first half and stepped it up a little bit in the second half. But you know what? It has to be a positive sign for Michigan that Jet Howard didn't go out there and have a great game. And the Wolverines won this, and not only won it, but they won it by 17 on the road.
Against a really, really good Northwestern team that now falls to 15-7. Michigan improves to 12-10 and 6-5 in Big Ten play. Michigan winning this game, they have jumped all the way from 9th to tied for 3rd place in conference play. But the Wolverines turn over Northwestern 9 times tonight. The Wolverines only turn it over 7. First time in quite some time that Michigan has won the turnover battle. But I think really interesting as we get closer to an end here after the 68-51 win is Michigan only scored 26 of their 68 points in the paint tonight.
That is very interesting. I mean, also not to mention they added 13 of 16 from the line. Not your usual scoring.
That Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking that a team in maize and blue just did that today because, you know, we're so used to them attacking down low, feeding Hunter Dickinson, and then other than that, make a couple threes. Today it was a lot of threes, or actually I should say a few threes, a lot of free throws. And so a very different type of game, but good for Michigan to show the versatility that they have in the different ways in which they can win games. Because they'll certainly need that as they close out this season and eventually reach the Big Ten tournament.
Now Michigan draws a team on Sunday at 1 o'clock, Ohio State at the Chrysler Center, and you say that name and immediately chills always run down the spine of maize and blue fans. But it's not the same Ohio State team this season. Including today, they are likely going to lose here to Wisconsin in a couple minutes. They've lost 8 of their last 9 ball games. They're a very young team. They're a lot like Michigan in a sense that they really strive off their youth. But it's a struggling season for Ohio State. Michigan has a golden opportunity on Sunday inside the Chrysler Center, which should be rocking for a rivalry matchup between the Buckeyes and the Wolverines. One more time, final score here tonight, Michigan 68, Northwestern 51. The Wolverines are able to sweep the season series against Chicago's Big Ten team. And I think this one means just a little bit more for Big Juwan Howard, who is a Chicago native himself. So from myself, Zach Linfield, to my right, Neal Sinha, and of course, Zachary Linder, and all of you back home listening in Ann Arbor, around the area, we'll leave you with a good night and a Go Blue.